June 28th, live from the Fontainebleau in Las Vegas, Power Slap 8. To have this type of talent, it's going to be fun. Slap fighting legend, Dumpling.
This man is ridiculously powerful.
The polar bear is here to slap.
Hey, the bear!
Paige is very tough. She's not afraid of anything.
She's just ferocious.
Christine Volmoranch is back.
This place is going to be packed to the rafters. Let's go.
June 28th, live from the Fontainebleau in Las Vegas, Power Slap 8. To have this type of talent, it's going to be fun. Slap fighting legend, Dumpling.
This man is ridiculously powerful.
The polar bear is here to slap.
Hey, the bear!
Paige is very tough. She's not afraid of anything.
She's just ferocious.
Christine Volmoranch is back.
This place is going to be packed to the rafters. Let's go.
June 28th, live from the Fontainebleau in Las Vegas, Power Slap 8. To have this type of talent, it's going to be fun. Slap fighting legend, Dumpling.
This man is ridiculously powerful.
The polar bear is here to slap.
Hey, the bear!
Paige is very tough. She's not afraid of anything.
She's just ferocious.
Christine Volmoranch is back.
This place is going to be packed to the rafters. Let's go.
June 28th, live from the Fontainebleau in Las Vegas, Power Slap 8. To have this type of talent, it's going to be fun. Slap fighting legend, Dumpling.
This man is ridiculously powerful.
The polar bear is here to slap.
Hey, the bear!
Paige is very tough. She's not afraid of anything.
She's just ferocious.
Christine Volmoranch is back.
This place is going to be packed to the rafters. Let's go.
June 28th, live from the Fountain Blue in Las Vegas, Power Slap 8. To have this type of talent, it's going to be fun. Slap fighting legend Dumpling.
This man is ridiculously powerful.
The polar bear is here to slap.
Paige the Bear!
Paige is very tough. She's not afraid of anything.
She's just ferocious.
Christine Volmoranch is back.
This place is going to be packed to the rafters. Let's go.
June 28th, live from the Fountain Blue in Las Vegas, Power Slap 8. To have this type of talent, it's going to be fun. Slap fighting legend Dumpling.
This man is ridiculously powerful.
The polar bear is here to slap.
Paige the Bear!
Paige is very tough. She's not afraid of anything.
She's just ferocious.
Christine Volmoranch is back.
This place is going to be packed to the rafters. Let's go.
June 28th, live from the Fountain Blue in Las Vegas, Power Slap 8. To have this type of talent, it's going to be fun. Slap fighting legend Dumpling.
This man is ridiculously powerful.
The polar bear is here to slap.
Paige the Bear!
Paige is very tough. She's not afraid of anything.
She's just ferocious.
Christine Volmoranch is back.
This place is going to be packed to the rafters. Let's go.
June 28th, live from the Fountain Blue in Las Vegas, Power Slap 8. To have this type of talent, it's going to be fun. Slap fighting legend Dumpling.
This man is ridiculously powerful.
The polar bear is here to slap.
Paige the Bear!
Paige is very tough. She's not afraid of anything.
She's just ferocious.
Christine Volmoranch is back.
This place is going to be packed to the rafters. Let's go.
June 28th, live from the Fountain Blue in Las Vegas, Power Slap 8. To have this type of talent, it's going to be fun. Slap fighting legend Dumpling.
This man is ridiculously powerful.
The polar bear is here to slap.
Paige the Bear!
Paige is very tough. She's not afraid of anything.
She's just ferocious.
Christine Volmoranch is back.
This place is going to be packed to the rafters. Let's go.
June 28th, live from the Fountain Blue in Las Vegas, Power Slap 8. To have this type of talent, it's going to be fun. Slap fighting legend Dumpling.
This man is ridiculously powerful.
The polar bear is here to slap.
Paige the Bear!
Paige is very tough. She's not afraid of anything.
She's just ferocious.
Christine Volmoranch is back.
This place is going to be packed to the rafters. Let's go.
June 28th, live from the Fountain Blue in Las Vegas, Power Slap 8. To have this type of talent, it's going to be fun. Slap fighting legend Dumpling.
This man is ridiculously powerful.
The polar bear is here to slap.
Paige the Bear!
Paige is very tough. She's not afraid of anything.
She's just ferocious.
Christine Volmoranch is back.
This place is going to be packed to the rafters. Let's go.
June 28th, live from the Fountain Blue in Las Vegas, Power Slap 8. To have this type of talent, it's going to be fun. Slap fighting legend Dumpling.
This man is ridiculously powerful.
The polar bear is here to slap.
Paige the Bear!
Paige is very tough. She's not afraid of anything.
She's just ferocious.
Christine Volmoranch is back.
This place is going to be packed to the rafters. Let's go.
June 28th, live from the Fountain Blue in Las Vegas, Power Slap 8. To have this type of talent, it's going to be fun. Slap fighting legend, Dumpling.
This man is ridiculously powerful.
The polar bear is here to slap.
Paige the Bear!
Paige is very tough. She's not afraid of anything.
She's just ferocious.
Christine Volmorange is back.
This place is going to be packed to the rafters. Let's go.
June 28th, live from the Fountain Blue in Las Vegas, Power Slap 8. To have this type of talent, it's going to be fun. Slap fighting legend, Dumpling.
This man is ridiculously powerful.
The polar bear is here to slap.
Paige the Bear!
Paige is very tough. She's not afraid of anything.
She's just ferocious.
Christine Volmorange is back.
This place is going to be packed to the rafters. Let's go.
June 28th, live from the Fountain Blue in Las Vegas, Power Slap 8. To have this type of talent, it's going to be fun. Slap fighting legend, Dumpling.
This man is ridiculously powerful.
The polar bear is here to slap.
Paige the Bear!
Paige is very tough. She's not afraid of anything.
She's just ferocious.
Christine Volmorange is back.
This place is going to be packed to the rafters. Let's go.
If Manny overlooks me, he's gonna lose his belt. I will outstrike him. I will outgrit him. I will outperform him.
Congratulations, Blackburn, on making it this far. Unfortunately, this is where your train stops tonight, and this is where I cement myself as the best.
Crazy One, you should definitely be worried standing across the table from the dog called Pitbull. You need to worry because you're gonna pass this belt on to me.
Danny, you ain't got a shot. This is my belt. I don't think you're ready. I'm gonna show you that you're not ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, the power is on.
Las Vegas, International Fight Week in full effect, and what better way to get the weekend kicked off than Power Slap 8, coming to you for the first time from the beautiful Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, one of the new crown jewels of the fight capital of the world. Power Slap 8, the Crazy Hawaiian versus Van Heerden, presented by Monster Energy. Unleash the Beast, 8 fights on the card, including a pair of title fights in the main and the co-main. Welcome inside the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, our home away from home. The stars starting to trickle in. It's an absolutely stacked card, and as always, it is my pleasure to be joined by the UFC Hall of Famer Michael Bisping. And brother, we have come a long way since Power Slap 1.
Oh, we certainly have, and let's remember it's International Fight Week, so it's a massive week here in Las Vegas, and I'm very proud to be standing here calling these matches because it's going to be another tremendous night of action. I mean, we've got the super heavyweight title, top to bottom. We're going to see heads slapped off all over the place. We've got former UFC stars like Paige Van Zandt now coming over to Power Slap. It's guaranteed to be another good night.
Bigger and better as we take a look at the main card. What's going down here at the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas? A massive light heavyweight matchup kicking things off when Turp Daddy Slim meets Vernon Cathy. The first of 2 super heavyweight matchups on the main card is Camille Marusarge and the Russian sensation Dumpling. As you mentioned, Bisping, former UFC star Paige Van Zandt making her Power Slap debut against Christine Wolmarans. Our co-main event, it's Emmanuel No Love Muniz defending his welterweight title against Anthony Babyface Blackburn. And in the main event, the big boys, the super heavies, a title fight, the champ, the Crazy Hawaiian, and Danny Van Heerden. The Crazy Hawaiian, all he's done is win a perfect 3-0 in Power Slap, 15-1 in slap fighting in his career, and he's going to have his hands full against the South African Danny Van Heerden.
Yeah, no joke there, Dan, because Danny Van Heerden, this man has done every single form of combat sports, whether it's boxing, K1, mixed martial arts. He's got a really good record in MMA as well, but now he's come over to Power Slap, and he's got his eyes firmly on becoming the super heavyweight champion, but that isn't going to be easy. The Crazy Hawaiian is absolutely gigantic. Won the super heavyweight title last time out. Coming into this one, very, very focused, extremely confident, and as always, when you're the size of that man, you're going to pack one hell of a slap.
385 pounds, and he said for the first time in Power Slap, his right hand is healthy. He's switched up hands in the past, plans on using the right hand the entire time. As we take a look at the top 5 super heavyweights, the striker rankings presented by Kudo Protein Popcorn. Head to kudosnacks.com now and enter the promo code SLAP for 25% off your order. It's the champ taking on the 4th-ranked contender, Danny Van Heerden from South Africa in our main event. As for the co-main event, Emmanuel No Love Muniz defending his welterweight strap for the very first time against the Motown Kid, Anthony Babyface Blackburn, who has yet to lose on a Power Slap stage.
3-0-1 in Power Slap is Anthony Blackburn. He comes from Michigan. He said he's got that Michigan grit. He's coming into this one extremely confident because he's realized this is more about technique over power. And he says, I have the cleanest strikes. He's never committed a foul. But that doesn't matter. If you get knocked out, who cares about the technique? And that is what Emmanuel Muniz is capable of doing. The man has ridiculous power. Last time out, knocked out KO Chris to become the champion. There it is right there. Massive style, massive power, and a massive match.
Power Slap hasn't even been around for 2 years, and in case you're wondering how it got started, it was Dana White, just like the rest of us, seeing this slap fighting on the other side of the world, said, you know, I might be able to make something of this. The guy that really caught his attention was only 5'9". He was 350 pounds. He was a pig farmer from Siberia. His name, Dumpling.
Пельмень возвращается 28 июня в Вегасе.
Я Василий Комоцкий, фермер из Сибири, с России.
Komatsky popped up on my radar in around 2018 when slapping started popping up on social media.
Первый раз, когда я увидел турнир по пощечинам, я просто вышел в толпы, меня друзья вытолкнули на «Иди поучаствуй». Я пошел, вырубил 2 человек, и все, пошло.
He definitely caught not only the world's attention, but mine. This guy is the OG of slap fighting.
Так получилось, что, дальше пошли всякие звать, всякие шоу начали делать, меня туда звали.
у меня получалось, стал становиться более известным.
He was this big, powerful guy that was knocking people out, and he could take a slap.
Z przybyszem z Rosji. Uderzył tak.
Nie ruszyło go to za
No nie ruszyło, chyba trafił troszeczkę.
His videos were doing millions of views online. I started to think I could build a real business out of slap fight.
Когда были первые пощечины, на которых я участвовал в Красноярске, на турнире с American Power Show, ведущий меня спросил, что ты делаешь, чем ты занимаешься. Я ему сказал, люблю есть пельмени. Он сказал, можно мы тебя напишем пельмени? Ну, я говорю, пиши. Ну, записали так и прилипло, и все. И нормально, сейчас меня все знают как пельмени. Я даже из-за этого был там лицом компании по производству пельменей у нас. Ну, делал рекламу пельменей.
Dumpling lives on a farm outside of Lansky, Russia. He raises pigs. He has 40 of them. He traveled 5,000 miles to get to Las Vegas. He went from his farm in Russia to the Russian airport, to Qatar, to San Francisco, and then landed in Las Vegas.
Я приехал, чтобы завоевать пояс. Ну, в будущем хочется завоевать пояс, а там уже как получится. И аж, получается, первый с России, то тоже гордо, что первый человек с России будет участвовать в пощечине. Что это будет, как бы, ну, хорошая история.
Vasily Dumpling Kamatsky is a true legend in the sport of slap fighting.
После сегодняшнего боя хочу, чтобы фанаты знали, что вот приехал русский чемпион. Мое послание всем супертяжам. Я приехал, бойтесь.
So, Dumpling is quite the character. He's been walking around smiling and laughing with everybody. Made a long trip over here, and he said, what do I do to train? We asked him, we asked all these guys, what do you do to train? He goes, I just work on the farm. I work with the pigs in the morning, I work in the field in the afternoon. He doesn't do a whole lot of slap training.
Yeah, but that's good old-fashioned hard work, Daniel. The man's out there working the land, feeding the pigs, picking things up, just working. Good old-fashioned hard work, and that's all that he needs to do. Listen, the man is a natural. That's why when Dana White saw this, he's like, I've got to get this guy involved. I've got to start this promotion. He's kind of like a pioneer, an OG, and he's come here for business. It was a long old trip to get here. He didn't come to lose. They call him the dumpling. We saw on the feature there. He's eaten 22 rather large dumplings in one sitting, 100 grams of meat in each one. So the man can definitely, he can fill his face with dumplings, but can he take the slaps? That's the real question.
He also has a dumpling sponsorship as well.
Yeah, he does.
One of the biggest personalities in our sport is Austin Turpin. They call him Turp Daddy Slim. Unfortunately for Austin, he hasn't been so slim in quite some time. He had a title fight his last time out that was ruled a non-title fight because he missed weight by about 10 pounds. So you'd think he'd come in extra motivated. He's fighting Vernon Cathy, who's one of the OGs in the sport, one of the older guys. Vernon Cathy dropped 25 pounds to make weight. Austin Turpin missed again by 10 pounds. So much talent, but you have to wonder about the motivation at this point.
Austin Turpin is one of my favorite guys. When he walks out here tonight, he'll light this place on fire. He's a showman at his heart, at his core, right? He's got knockout power. He can take a good shot. We all love the celebration. But none of that matters if you can't make weight. You're disrespecting yourself, the sport, your opponent, Dana White, us, all the work that we put into growing this. If you're going to show up and you can't make weight, get a grip. But he is very, very regretful. And he might be even more regretful because his opponent, Vern Cathy, as we know, he can knock people out with one shot. He's done it multiple times. So if he can go out there and get a big win tonight, okay, maybe he can undo the damage that he's done, but it's not an easy match.
Felt bad about it. He had to give him a little pep talk during our fighter meeting. He's going to be interested to see what his attitude is as he comes out here on stage tonight. You know what they say, styles make fights.
Yes.
And stars make promotions. And the biggest star in power slap yet is stepping to the stage tonight. Former UFC star Paige Van Zandt making her debut against Christine Wolmarans. I know there's a lot of anticipation tonight to see what Paige can do here at the power slap table. She's a slight underdog in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Paige Van Zandt, as we know, she's been on the UFC for a very, very long time. Had a decent career, fought some really, really good competition. Left the UFC, went on Dancing with the Stars. She's done all kinds of combat sports, and she wants to try this out. She says that I'm a gangster. That's her saying that, not me. She's a great fighter. She's had a lot of success. She's had some ups and some downs. I'm really excited to see her here tonight and see what she can do.
She's had a lot of success outside of the octagon. She's done some bare knuckle boxing. She's done some boxing. She's obviously a huge hit on OnlyFans as well. And a lot of people have said, hey, you don't need to do this for the money. Why do you want to do it? She said, because everybody always says I'm a tough girl. This is the ultimate measure of toughness to come out here and stand at that table and go slap for slap.
Yeah, that's right. Listen, these people are adrenaline junkies. One of them said to me, he said, you have no idea what it feels like to stand there and let somebody slap you in the face as hard as you can. And then you get to return the favor. That's what Paige Van Zandt's going to do tonight. She's going to feel that thrill, feel that rush. And who knows, we might see her here to stay and maybe become a champion one day.
You know, there's a lot of interesting competitors that we've had over the years. So not only do you have Paige Van Zandt, but you have a guy like Dumpling to fly 5,000 miles, literally across the world, to take part in this promotion, and he could not be happier to be here. What does it say about the growth of the sport? Not only are we here in this marvelous ballroom at the Fontainebleau Las Vegas, listen, we were in the apex at the beginning. It was a slow build. But man, this thing is taking off like a rocket ship. All you have to do is look at social media. What does it say about the sport to have guys like Dumpling, to have gals like Paige Van Zandt participating in Power Slap?
Well, they know what they're onto. They know this is a massive platform. There's money to be made, and it's fun as well. I'm telling you right now, if you haven't been to a Power Slap event, it is one of the best nights in that you're ever going to have. This place is starting to fill up now. The people are coming in. The atmosphere is building. We haven't even had the first match yet, and you can already feel the energy inside the room. It's going to be another good one, Dan.
All right, let's take a look at what else is going to be going on here tonight. Super heavyweights kicking off the prelims. It's the #1 contender, Dane Viernes, facing Dwayne Crespo. A win by Viernes could set up a match with his brother, who's the champ. Man, that would be fun. He said they're going to have to pay us a lot of money to do that. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Jackie Cataline, you remember her? That illegal viral knockout of Sheena Bathory, her last time out. That was everywhere. She faces newcomer Katharina Leaner, who, oh, by the way, is friends with Sheena Bathory.
Yes.
So there's a little bad blood here right from the jump. And Wesley Drain stands across the table from Isaiah Pretty Boy Quinones to get things kicked off. Back to the main card. Paige Van Zandt becomes the first former UFC star to make her presence felt on the Power Slap stage. Charlie Arnold is joining us now with more on this big matchup with Christine Wolmerans.
Dan, thank you so much. Yeah, we are all super pumped to see Paige Van Zandt enter Power Slap. Everybody is excited. A very warm welcome to Van Zandt. And honestly, everybody at this point is talking about her, and for obvious reasons. Now, Van Zandt, she has 3 million followers on Instagram, and she calls herself a combat sports collector. She spent time in the UFC, bare knuckle boxing. She was a pro wrestler in AEW. So when she got the opportunity to join Power Slap, she literally jumped on it. She was like, why not? I'm already in tremendous shape. Just last month, she had a boxing match. Also, Austin Turpin has been helping to train and to guide her. On top of that, also, her husband has been getting involved. She says what he's been doing is he's been whacking her literally as hard as he can in their backyard with pool noodles. So I guess that's a little bit of extra prep, if you will. But Van Zandt says she knows exactly what she brings to the table. In her words, I am a gangster. I am ready to take over and have some fun. Now, standing across from her is going to be South African MMA fighter Christine Wolmerans, who is coming on to her second appearance here in Power Slap. She says she is totally ready to absorb all of that extra attention that comes along with facing someone like Van Zandt, but she is quick to say, when you step onto that stage, it does not matter how many followers you have. It doesn't matter what you have accomplished. And also, Christine, very confident about what she is bringing to this product. She's been training very hard. Her training includes MMA, BJJ, also a lot of neck strengthening exercises so she can be extremely stout on defense. All I've got to say, I am super pumped to see these two ladies take center stage for a fight that has quite literally already gone viral before even taking place. Dan, back to you.
Pumped for that one as well. Thank you very much, Charlie. The rules of Power Slap are brought to you by Rumble. Bold and free. Download the Rumble app or visit rumble.com. For the striker, they must use a flat, open hand to the cheek or a clubbing foul will be assessed. The feet have to be grounded. No pivoting or stepping. You must declare a hand and a number prior to the strike. For the defender, no chin tucking or flinching. Flinching is massive. It's possibly a point deduction. And the striker, well, they go again. The defender does receive 60 seconds to recover after each strike. 2 fouls get you DQ'd in a 3-round match, 3 fouls in a 5-round match, and you're out. The defender does get 2 minutes to recover after they've been fouled. Power Slap is using instant replay, and if there isn't a finish, we go to the judges' scorecards. All right, here's a look at the stats. Through 164 power slap matches, the winners of the coin toss have gone on to win 49.5% of the time. It's basically 50-50. The coin toss doesn't determine the winner, but it can impact the odds. It's up to you where you see the value if you're laying down some cash. The big boys kicking things off to Hawaiian hitman Dane Viernes. Could be one win away from a title shot, and it would be against his brother. But first, he has to get by this man. Dwayne Crespo has been through the wars, slapping against some of the best of the game, and tonight he faces literally his largest opponent yet. And for the first time tonight, we put the power slap table to work. 8 fights on the card at the beautiful Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, and the super heavyweights getting us started. These odds are presented by Circus Sports, sports betting the way it should be. Keeping up a busy schedule, Dane Viernes makes his second power slap appearance this year. He's eager to welcome Dwayne Crespo to the super heavyweight division in an intriguing clash of big fellas.
Hoping to set the tone for a victorious night for Power Slap's first family, Dane the Hawaiian hitman Viernes takes to the stage before his brother, the Crazy Hawaiian. And he'll attempt to show the form that garnered him his first Vegas win over Slap for Cash when he squares off with Dwayne Crespo. Making his 8th Power Slap appearance, Dwayne Crespo established his reputation in the heavyweight division. But tonight, following a big win over Logan Greenhall in February, he moves up with the intention of shaking things up among the big boys at super heavyweight. Coming up next, Dane the Hawaiian hitman faces Dwayne the Iron Giant Crespo.
These fighter walkouts brought to you by 10X Health, Precision Nutrition Wellness. Go to 10xnutrition.com. This is the Iron Giant, Dwayne Crespo. The smallest guy in the super heavyweight division moved up because he thought this would be his quickest route to a title. And he says not cutting weight, well, that certainly helps him out quite a bit, Michael Bisping.
Yeah, he also feels like they're not generally as athletic in the super heavyweight division. Of course, they are bigger, they are heavier, and they probably do hit harder, but he's very, very confident also. As you mentioned, it gets him to a title fight quicker. If he can put together a nice little a little streak, he feels like he'll get a title shot quicker because he's been around for a while at heavyweight. This is, I believe, his 9th fight. He's now training with Damian DeBell as well, who we saw a second ago, because, well, he's not a competitor anymore. He lost to him in the past. He lost by knockout, but now he's training with him. They're exchanging tips, and he really feels that that has really helped him to up his game, and he's coming into this one as a super heavyweight reborn.
Some guys treat this as a hobby. Dwayne Crespo treats this as a profession. He trains full-time, one of the real junkies of the sport, always chatting about technique and form with other guys on the roster, and he has no fouls in 7 fights. Nobody else can say that. The Hawaiian hitman Dane Viernes coming into this one a -240 favorite. If he wins, could be a potential showdown with his brother, the Crazy Hawaiian, who's the champion.
Yep.
His brother is here watching him walk out right now. Says his biggest issue is focusing on no fouls, Charlie.
Yeah, no fouls, and he's been very focused in the, what we'll call it, the off season since his last time out. You might not be able to tell, guys, but Dane Viernes, he has dropped 10 pounds. Can you tell?
No, not really.
Okay, I figured as much. He's crediting it to his time he's been spending in the gym alongside his brother and uncle. They've all been going together, holding each other accountable, which has been fantastic. Though he is down a few. He's 377 pounds still. His opponent, Dwayne Crespo, weighed in at 278. That is a 100-pound difference. And Hawaiian Hitman says he gives props to Crespo, who typically fights below the 265-pound heavyweight limit, for moving on up. But he says he is not the right guy to experiment on. He says this fight will end with a, quote, one-slap medevac that will send Crespo right back to that weight class that he came from, guys.
Well, the biggest win for Dane Viernes was, of course, when he made his debut against Slav for Cash. Round 2, knocked him out. It was a vicious knockout. Slav for Cash headbutted the stand, fell over, didn't get up for quite some time. And remember, Slav for Cash came to this one like very cocky, like he was going to take over the sport. Well, Dane Viernes put that one to bed, put him to bed, and looking to put his opponent to bed tonight.
Let's take a look at the tail of the tape for our first fight of the night. It's Dwayne Crespo Jr. and the Hawaiian Hitman. The Hawaiian Hitman, 1 year older, a pretty massive 6-inch reach advantage, and the hand size also much bigger for the bigger Hawaiian Hitman. Let's send it now to Justin Bernard, our Power Slap announcer.
Ladies and gentlemen, the power is on. Welcome to the Power Slap Arena, live from the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas. This is Power Slap 8, the Crazy Hawaiian versus Van Heerden. This match is 3 rounds in the Power Slap Super Heavyweight Division and presented by Amino Heal, the official brain protection supplement of Power Slap. Introducing to you first, in the blue corner, he stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 278 pounds, out of Rochester, New York, Dwayne, the Iron Giant Crespo. And in the red corner, he stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 377 pounds, out of Las Vegas, Nevada. He is a #1 ranked super heavyweight contender in the world. Dane, the Hawaiian Hitman Viernes. And when the action begins, your referee in charge, Kerry Hatley. Winner of the coin toss and striking first, Dwayne Crespo.
Fun fact for you, only 15.2% of our matches in Power Slap have ended by knockout on the first slap. We'll see if that indeed does come to fruition tonight in our first match of the evening. This first slap of the night brought to you by Brickhouse Nutrition. Build better nutrition, 1 brick at a time at brickhousenutrition.com. And here we go, Bisping.
Yeah. So as Charlie said, 100-pound weight difference, which is gigantic for the Hawaiian Hitman. But for Crespo, he's probably like, well, I'm more muscle. You're carrying a lot of flab. And if it's flab, that's useless. Yeah, there's some weight there which can transform into power, but I wouldn't be surprised if Crespo can win this one because, you know, 270, 265, 365. They're both big boys. They both got power. Let's see how Crespo does.
4 of Crespo's 5 wins have come by knockout. Let's see if he can do it here.
1, 2.
Like a snack cake.
Eating it up. Wasn't bothered one little bit, not phased in the slightest. Didn't even look like it particularly hurt him. He actually looked like he enjoyed it. He's like, oh yeah, come on. Give it to me again. He didn't even move.
I mean, his neck, can you imagine the neck size? I know you're a big custom suit guy, right? You're probably like a 16 and a half, 17-inch neck. That's probably a 22-inch neck.
I don't know when the last time I measured my neck was, but it's about 18 inches.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but it ain't nowhere near the size of the Hawaiian Hitman. As I said, I'm kind of correcting myself. I said, oh, an extra 100 pounds, it doesn't matter.
Think it matters?
I take that back.
Already you're walking it back.
I'm wrong. The man doesn't move.
Left on one. Are you going to measure?
All right, remember for the Hawaiian Hitman, 1 win by knockout. That was his first ever match against Slap for Cash. He lost by disqualification in his last one.
Here's your measure.
Very focused on not fouling is the Hawaiian Hitman.
Look at the size of the hands.
Juicy.
Nah, I didn't like it. I don't think it was juicy.
Third blow.
Crespo took it like it was nothing. He's complaining it was a little high.
You know, this is kind of his MO. This is what he does. It may have been just a shade high.
Okay, got 45
Yeah,
seconds.
he does do that a lot. But
It's
it
kinda
was
like-
a little high, though, to be fair.
Yeah, it's kind of like in the NBA when everybody, Luka Doncic and these guys just complain about getting fouled every time. That's Crespo.
Yeah.
To make sure you're touching. Okay, Blue, hand and count.
Wait on 3.
Right on 3.
Sir, fast one.
I'd actually
Okay,
give
right
that
on
to
3.
Crespo in round 1.
Okay.
I don't know, actually.
It's
a tough
really
one.
close.
It is.
There's your measure.
Look at the Hawaiian Hitman having a little fun.
1.
Look at the speed of that wind-up.
2.
He kind of leaned into it.
He did.
Is that illegal? It's the opposite of a flinch.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like a reverse flinch.
Yeah.
But that's a technique a lot of guys use. It's almost like the opposite of trying to roll with the punch.
Oof. Look at the ripple. But it's not minimizing the power of the shot that you're about to receive. It's actually making it stronger.
But he's so massive that Crespo can't even get through the slap.
No. He's got quite a lot of neck fat.
30 seconds.
It's the first time I've seen neck fat ripple.
All right, you set. Shoulders down a little bit.
At what point does it become
What do we got?
demoralizing as well for Crespo? Because you move up to a new weight class. He's never
Left
fought
on
at super
2,
heavyweight
red,
before.
left on
I think
2,
it already
left
is.
Yeah,
measure.
but now he's like, oh, crap. I made a big mistake.
I
There's
can't
your
even put a
measure.
dent in this guy. The Hawaiian Hitman promised us a knockout. Let's see if it happens here. Not a lot on that one.
He's complaining again. You're absolutely right, Dan Helly. Every time he's got a little complaint. That looked okay to me. Of course, with the beard, it can, get people to struggle.
He kind of
sometimes.
brushed his shoulder a little bit before he went. I
Okay,
think
we're
it's a
starting
clean
round
blow.
3.
So how do you score that one, right? You don't even move to Hawaiian Hitman, but he did absolutely zero damage to Crespo.
I give it to the Hitman, for sure. It just looked like a better slap,
Make sure you're touching.
more impact. The Hawaiian Hitman,
Don't let him take that fucking
like, if he was asleep, I doubt that would have even woke him up.
That's the heavyweight champ, Damian DeBell, who's coaching the blue corner, coaching Crespo up. They used to be
Okay,
opponents.
Blue, right on 3.
Now they
Start
talk
round
a
3.
lot
Right
more
on
because
3.
Crespo says, hey, I don't have to face him anymore, so we're comparing tips.
Gotta be
Let's see what
touching.
kind of
You
a
gotta
tip
be
he gave him
touching.
here. This is a huge round 3 for Crespo.
Will it be just the tip
There's
that he
your
needed?
measure.
I see what you did there.
1. 2.
I called a fair blow. Crespo likes that one. Didn't do a lot of damage, though. Again, he's not able to move Viernes off the spot.
And that's the problem, because even though it might be a really powerful blow,
Okay, last strike.
when your
Last strike.
opponent
Round 3.
hardly moves, doesn't make any kind of reaction,
Okay, let's
a
go.
bit of swelling on that left eye, to be fair. But when the opponent doesn't move, that's going to influence the judges a little bit.
sure you're
And that
touching
again
just
is
a
where
little
the
bit. There
size
you go.
comes in.
That is clearly the best strike of the match thus far by Crespo. So credit him for that. He got through that one, didn't get stuck right as soon as he met that boulder of a head
He put it in.
at the top the Hawaiian
Okay,
Hitman's
Red,
shoulders.
last strike. You're touching. Hand and count.
Well, this crowd is filling up.
Right. Left
They
on
want
1.
somebody
Left on 1 with the measure. With
go
the
to
measure.
sleep.
Left
Yes,
on
they do.
1.
So no pressure, Hawaiian Hitman, but this crowd is thirsty.
There's your measure.
He can eat a slap. Can he deliver the knockout blow here in round 3?
Yeah, it wasn't the best shot.
This is actually a pretty close match.
It's a very close match. I'm a little surprised at that final blow from the Hawaiian Hitman. I just didn't seem to have a lot of force behind it. The sound wasn't particularly impressive. It wasn't a good shot.
Look at the feet. He kept those feet down. He didn't foul for the first time in a long time. Coming into this fight,
Okay, hang in there.
he had 4 slaps and 2 fouls, so 50% of the time was a foul for the Hawaiian Hitman. Here's your scorecard, Bisping.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I don't have to justify it to the Hawaiian Hitman's face later. But judging by slaps to the face, I thought Crespo landed the better shots in 1 and 3. Round 3, I was a little underwhelmed by the Hitman's, you know, not the power, not the attempt. I mean, he tried everything he had, but there wasn't much on it. Crespo didn't get a reaction, but I feel like there was some good impact there. So that's what I'm basing that on.
All right, so you have Crespo. If Crespo does indeed get the win, it would be quite an achievement in his first ever super heavyweight bout. The official decision is presented by Kudo Protein Popcorn. Head to kudosnacks.com now and enter the promo code SLAP for 25% off your order.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. All 3 judges score the contest 29-28 for the winner by unanimous decision, Dwayne the Iron Giant Crespo.
I'm here with the winner, Dwayne Crespo. Dwayne, super heavyweight division, you came, you saw, you conquered. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling good. I thought it'd be a little harder. I thought supers could hit hard. My division, #1 heavyweight, #1 super.
Well, it's crazy to think you were 100 pounds lighter than the Hawaiian Hitman. I mean, did you even think that you stood a chance? Obviously you did, or you wouldn't be here, correct?
I'm gonna win. Again, no one's taking that extra money from my family. It ain't happening. 400 pounds, 600 pounds, I do not care.
And I know when you entered this division, your goal was to go to the very top. Obviously, he's the #1 contender. You wanted to skyrocket to the top of this division. Now that you've beat him, do you feel like you've done enough to earn that title opportunity?
I think 8 fights, no fouls, #1 in heavyweight, #1 in super, no title shots. I think it's time.
So what do you want to be next for you? Super heavyweight title fight? Heavyweight title fight?
I'm in super. Let's get the super title.
Okay, well, Dwayne Crespo, congratulations.
The Iron Giant improving to 6-2. That post-fight interview brought to you by 10X Health Precision Nutrition Wellness. Go to 10xnutrition.com. So 1 fight, 1 win in super heavyweight for Dwayne Crespo, getting it done. Maybe not in emphatic fashion, but impressive nonetheless, Michael Bisping.
Yeah, what impressed me was his ability to take the shots of a gigantic man like the Hawaiian Hitman.
Oh, good work by Crespo. The first match of Power Slap 8 is in the books. To watch live and free the rest of this card, all you have to do is download and open the Rumble app now, or go to rumble.com. Rumble, the home of Power Slap, and the only place to watch the rest of the card. It's so easy, just like YouTube. If you're watching us anywhere else right now, tune into Rumble. Download the app. Go to rumble.com. You're not going to want to miss what's going down at the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas tonight. Power Slap 8 coming to you live from this gorgeous, gorgeous building. Less than 2 years in, and Power Slap is already getting more views than several major sports leagues. And tonight, we're setting a new attendance record here at the Fontainebleau. Going to be about 3,000 strong.
Field of Greens, the official superfood of Power Slap.
Feeling a bit sluggish? Try 1775 Coffee's limitless supplements and unlock your full cognitive potential. Who knows? You might just be the next Einstein. Well, probably not. But try it anyway. Unlock your limitless potential.
Here's a look at the weight classes. Women's bantamweight from 126 to 135. Then we go welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, the heavyweights up to 265, and then super heavyweights over 265. We have seen as heavy as 400 pounds in super heavyweight. Our co-main event tonight going to be for the welterweight title. It's Emmanuel Muniz and Anthony Blackburn. Yesterday, Charlie Arnold caught up with both of them.
Thank you so much. Here with the two men that will be facing off in the co-main event this weekend, Emmanuel Muniz and Anthony Blackburn. Both of you coming in with a lot of momentum. Coincidentally, both having knockouts over Christopher Thomas. And now, Manny, your welterweight title is going to be on the line. How ready are you to face off against Anthony?
More ready than ever, more ready than I was even against Chris. I'm excited for the opportunity again to showcase my talents, but, defend the belt for the first time, for sure.
And Anthony, I know you talked about this is kind of like a pinch me moment for you. You've been working to get to this very position to fight for a title. So what's on your mind right now?
I mean, this is definitely the biggest moment of my life, biggest moment of my power slap career. So if I can perform to my best abilities, it's going to be awesome on Friday.
Well, I think it is going to be awesome. And something else that you said that really struck me was you think that this is going to go down as the greatest power slap match in history. Why do you believe that?
Get two of the best chins in the sport at a lighter weight, so there's a little more competition. We're not throwing as heavy, so we're going to be standing longer. And 5 rounds of that war, ooh, can't wait.
Yeah. Emmanuel, you agree this is just going to be an all-out war?
Yeah, no, definitely. Blackburn has a chin, I have a chin. We both have been tested by some of the better of the sport. He brings good power, I bring good power. I could definitely see us going, putting on one of the best shows ever, definitely.
And Emmanuel, you looked really good the last time out, but you're very, I guess, particular about how you want this fight to look. You said it was just all about the details as far as your training went this time around. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I'd learned, obviously I had a good performance against Chris. I took from that fight, learned a lot of things, very minor details, and, perfected those, worked on those, and continue to get better every day.
Continuing to get better, and now we see exactly what is going to transpire pretty quickly here. Anthony, how do you see this fight going down?
I think it's going to be a war. There's no doubt in my mind that we go 5 rounds. If it is a knockout, I'll be very surprised.
Okay, so you're not going to put yourself in the driver's seat in this one, or do you want to make any bold statements right now?
I mean, the technique is there, but I know he's got the chin. We'll just see if this 100% arm is coming a little faster than it was with KO Chris.
Emmanuel, how do you think this is going to play out?
In my head, leading up to it, I of course I envision a knockout. I have it how I want it, but obviously I can very much see it going to decision, being a crazy match. I could see us wobbling each other. Of course I think I'm gonna pull it out. Believe in myself. I've always believed in myself, and that'll never change. So.
Well, I respect both of you are humble, and I know we can expect fireworks come the fight this weekend. Guys, back to you.
2 title fights coming up. Now it's time for the ladies to step up. Our first 2 female matches on deck, and these 2 pack some serious power. Jackie Cataline announced herself as a force to be reckoned with in her first power slap appearance, and now it's time to build on that debut by delivering an epic performance against Katharina Leiner.
Accomplished combat sports athlete Jackie Cataline may not have gotten the win in her power slap debut back in February, but the hybrid left a lasting impression with her performance against Sheena Bathory. Tonight, the California powerhouse returns for her sophomore appearance against newcomer Katharina Leiner, a 13-fight MMA veteran who competed on season 28 of The Ultimate Fighter. Germany's Leiner has also boxed professionally en route to the next chapter of her career on the power slap stage, where she expects to set a high bar for her fellow featherweights tonight. Coming up next, Jackie, the hybrid Cataline, battles Katharina, German Gypsy Leiner.
It's the debut for Katharina Leiner. She competed on season 28 of The Ultimate Fighter. That was the Whitaker and Gastelum season, has an 8-5 pro MMA record. Used to train at Jackson Wink, and now in Denver with Elevation Fight Team. So a lot of MMA experience for her, Charlie.
Yeah, you know, experience is important, but also, guys, you can imagine it always helps to have an ally in the locker room. And Katharina Lehner has one in the First Lady of Power Slap. I have dubbed her that, Sheena Bathory. The two have been best friends for years. They met in Lehner's home country of Germany while both training in BJJ. Now, obviously, after having that MMA experience, being in season 28 of The Ultimate Fighter, she is super stoked to make her debut. She says Sheena has been texting her nonstop, specifically saying to kick her opponent Jackie Cataline's ass, because remember, guys, that is the same woman who knocked out Sheena with the clubbing foul back in February. So there is vengeance on Katharina's mind.
Revenge will be served tonight in the mind of Katharina Lehner. Her best friend, Sheena Bathory, as you say, got knocked out cold, but it was a disqualification. Her opponent, Jackie Cataline, clubbed her, fouled her, but still knocked her out. She's here tonight with one thing on her mind, that is vengeance. She's very accomplished. She's trained with a lot of great fighters, and she's here to do the business.
Jackie Cataline is just a badass. I don't know how else to describe it. She's a mom of 4. She's been an electrician. She's been a pro MMA fighter, high school wrestling coach, a firefighter, a deputy sheriff. She's done just about everything except win in Power Slap. Yes, her first match produced that viral knockout of Sheena Bathory, but she lost by DQ, and she is hungry for a victory here tonight.
Yeah, no, she really is. She's very accomplished in all kinds of combat sports. Wrestling, of course, is one of the things that she's excelled in, and that's why she has that power. Sheena Bathory is not an easy woman to knock out. She's playing up to the crowd here. Her kids at home that are watching, of course, they're very happy because they saw her mother go viral. And the reason it went viral is because it was a shocking knockout. It is a shame that it was a foul because the blow that she delivered had a tremendous amount of power. But as we've spoke about many times already tonight, you've got to be careful. You've got to be in control of your weapons. And unfortunately for her, that night she wasn't.
Time now to take a look at the tail of the tape. Jackie Cataline, Katharina Lehner making her debut. It is Cataline, who is 2 years older, 1 inch shorter, and slightly bigger hand size. Cataline has the experience in coming in as a 2-1 favorite in this one, and she wins the coin toss, so Cataline will be going first as well, as we send it to our Power Slap announcer, Justin Bernard.
Ladies and gentlemen, this match is 3 rounds in the Power Slap Women's Featherweight Division, and presented by Cram, the official PB&J partner of Power Slap. Introducing to you first, in the blue corner, she stands 5 feet 7 inches tall, weighing in at 145½ pounds. Out of Denver, Colorado, Katharina, the German Gypsy Lehner. And in the red corner, she stands 5 feet 6 inches tall, weighing in at 144½ pounds. Out of Eastvale, California, Jackie, the hybrid Cataline. And when the action begins, your referee in charge, Mark Smith. Winner of the coin toss and striking first, Jackie Cataline.
Taking a look at props to watch in case you're interested. How many fights of the 8 tonight will go the distance?
Right,
plus 130 over 2.5, minus 160 under 2.5. We've already had one go to the judges' scorecards already, so 2 more. And you're cashing in on that if you bet the right way.
Okay. All right, Jackie, come on in. What you got? What's your hand count?
So we've seen the power from Jackie Cataline before. Let's see if she can deliver a clean blow here, as Katharina Lehner will have to eat it for the first time.
She certainly got the power. We saw that last time. Oh, Lehner certainly felt that. A little wobbled. Had to lean on the stand to just kind of balance herself.
She's taking a minute.
She did not like that.
Felt like Cataline was making sure that she delivered a clean blow here. Feet are good, slight heel lift, that's just fine.
Yeah, Jackie Cataline there certainly refined some things, as we saw. A lot more control, landed it well, good shot, feet were nice.
Recover.
And as I was saying last time when she made her debut, all those years of wrestling, she's going to be so strong.
Good. Put your hand with your count. Are you going to measure? You're going to measure. Right on one with a measure.
Lena's.
All right, she's going on one.
She's going on one. She might regret
That's
that.
a measure.
We've seen a lot of people go on one so far tonight.
Look at Cataline just like grinning at her.
Love it.
Oh, let's go.
Talk a little smack already.
I mean, that's what they're there to do, right? Slap each other in the face. You can't get offended.
1 point, clubbing.
Oh, it was a club.
Yeah, that was low. That was low.
Okay, fair enough.
I've seen worse, but certainly that's a foul.
Gotta get it more up here.
Her club last time was one of the worst you'll ever see.
Yeah, and it was nasty. Sheena Bathory didn't wake up for a couple of days after that one. She is ready to come back and anxious to get back on the stage as Sheena Bathory. Let's see if Cataline lets loose a little bit here, because I felt like this first one was really focused on just a clean strike.
She was kind of reserved. Last time she had a lot more energy about her, a little more wild.
So 2 minutes go onto the clock when there's a foul, so plenty of time to recover for Jackie Cataline. Robert Trujillo, I'm sure, is telling her to take her time.
Yeah, I mean, it's like in the UFC, you get up to 5 minutes if there's a certain kind of foul, but you very rarely take the 5 minutes. Seems here Cataline is going to take the whole time just because, hey, I might as well. And to be fair, that's smart.
Recover.
But I just want to see some action.
I think we might right here.
Come on in.
Let's see if Jackie unleashes the power.
Must measure right on
You can see Lena right up against that table. That's a veteran move right there.
1.
Look at the slide bend in the elbow as well. That helps generate power. Ooh. Lena just smiles.
Maybe not as good as the first one.
No, nowhere near as good.
All right, so round one's in the books because of the foul. Cataline takes that.
Mark Smith messaged or signaled that that was a club.
He wants to look at it, and it is. You got it.
Yeah.
Hit it on the head, Bisping.
That's what I do.
It's like you've been doing this for a while.
I mean, I've never power slapped in my life, but I've called a few, 8 to be precise.
1 point, clubbing.
So here's what you have to remember, because this new rule change a couple of months ago, one more foul by either fighter, and they're DQ'd. In a 3-round fight, 2 fouls get you disqualified. They're really trying to take the fouls out of the game, but it's easier said than done.
Follow through. And remember, tuck that right here. Pull all the
But
way
if Lena
in.
just lands
got this
a
shit.
fair blow,
Whenever you're ready,
just lands it, doesn't foul in any way, she'll win this round. So then it should be all even going into round 3.
Important to land clean more than anything else right here. But again, for the German Gypsy, this is her debut.
Right on 2.
That's your measure. 1.
Another clubbing foul. That's going to do it.
That was a bad shot in general. Placement was awful. There wasn't a lot of power. The swing, the technique, all in just a bad effort.
Yeah, that placement was off by about a foot.
Yeah.
She took extra time on the measure and still wasn't able to hit the spot.
Look at that.
My God.
That was a forearm.
That was a forearm strike.
That was a clothesline.
That was a clothesline.
That's the WWE. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's not ideal. So, Katharina Lehner out of Denver, Colorado, in her debut, going to get the DQ loss. Jackie Cataline will record her first victory by disqualification.
Yeah, not really the drama that we saw last time. I mean, when she knocked out Sheena Bathory, there was a tremendous amount of power. I thought we had a real superstar on our hands. Didn't get the finish tonight, but she did get the victory. And
and of course, a cleaner performance, although there was still a foul.
All right, so we've seen 3 too many fouls so far on this night in this fight. But the good news for the hybrid, Jackie Cataline from Eastvale, California, she does get her first victory on the Power Slap stage. As
just stop fouling, please.
Let's send it to our Power Slap announcer, Justin Bernard.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Mark Smith calls a stop to the match in round number 2, declaring the winner by disqualification, Jackie the Hybrid Catalan.
Oh, celebs in the house, Shinsuke Nakamura. Rey Mysterio here as well, WWE superstars. Michael Chandler, supposed to be fighting this weekend. Instead, he's here with us. Gonna be fighting Conor McGregor pretty soon, and Cam Newton in the house as well. Former 3-time Pro Bowl quarterback here to check out some Power Slap.
I'm gonna rise up.
Welcome to Power Slap.
Can I get a witness? I'm back with a vengeance.
Holy fucking shit.
Hit me, motherfucker. Come on. Be strong up there. Let's fucking go, boys. Ah!
Wow. Damn. I'm back with a vengeance.
Back in the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, our first visit to this beautiful establishment. We're setting attendance records. 3,000 on hand here. Just getting started here tonight. 2 down and 6 to go. This top 10 middleweight rankings are presented by Kudo Protein Popcorn. Head to kudosnacks.com now. Enter the promo code SLAP for 25% off your order. John Davis is the champion. Azael Rodriguez, the #1 contender, but keep your eyes on number 2 and number 6. That's Wesley Drain and Isaiah Quinones. 2 against 6, Michael. This should be a fun one here that we have coming up on deck.
Yeah, Wesley Drain's been around for a long time. He's one of the more familiar names, been very, very active, and coming into this one very confident.
So it's a top 6 middleweight showdown on the way. A win potentially puts Wesley Drain or Quinones in line for a title shot this year. An underrated veteran stepping up to the Power Slap stage for the 10th time. Wesley Drain is on a mission to reign over the middleweight division, but Isaiah Quinones has every intention of putting his halt to Drain's plans.
With a host of middleweight contenders jockeying for a shot at the champion John Davis, Wesley Drain and Isaiah Quinones know what's at stake in tonight's showdown. So expect them to slap accordingly when it's their turn to throw. Oklahoma's Drain came close to the belt in his first fight with Davis, and after 3 straight wins, he's ready for an encore with the machine. But first, Quinones gets his crack at taking Drain down. And after an emphatic knockout of Ryan Wallace in his April return after a year-long layoff, he's in prime form before this pivotal battle. Coming up next, Wesley, all the smoke Drain, takes on Isaiah, Puerto Rican pretty boy Quinones.
The Puerto Rican pretty boy, Isaiah Quinones, 33 years old from Palmdale, California. Started a new job a few months ago as an engineer for Supernal. What is Supernal, you ask? It's just a vertical takeoff airplane company. Smart dude who's coming off his first win, a 3rd-round KO of Ryan Wallace back in April.
Yeah, and he's saying that has really changed his approach. He's so happy to finally get a stoppage in Power Slap. Of course, in other organizations like out in Russia on the same promotions as the upcoming Dumpling, who we'll see later, he's had many KOs, but not in Power Slap. And finally, he got one, and that was when he moved up in weight to 185 pounds. Because of that, he's staying there. His opponent, Wesley Drain, he said he loves him. He said he loves all these guys. There's a real brotherhood and camaraderie between them all. However, nothing changes. He's looking to knock him out cold.
Tonight's betting odds presented by Circus Sports. Sports betting the way it should be. Wesley Drain, the -154 favorite. Quinones, the 134 dog. This is your favorite, Wesley. All the smoke Drain, his 10th power slap match, the most active fighter on the roster. Calls himself to go to the promotion due in part to his activity and the fact that he's never been knocked down, has a granite chin. And I'll tell you what, Bisping, he seemed a little more energized during fight week this time.
Yeah, that's right. We're really seeing a transformation, not only of the sport, but of their competitors, because Wesley Drain, when we speak to him, is very nonchalant. He's very much like he couldn't care less. But, you know, obviously wants to be successful. But now he really feels that this is changing him as a person. He's getting better. He's more disciplined with his life. He's working out. He's working more in general. He's earning money. And it's gave him a real thirst for life. As you mentioned, he said that he's one of the GOATs. He has had some tremendous performances, some great knockouts, but he's had a few losses along the way. What he wants to do now, as he steps on the canvas with the shoes off, by the way, I never like it when they have the shoes off, trying to get on a good winning streak here against Isaiah Quinones.
Coming in having won 3 in a row, and great point, Bisping. We've talked about that before. Going to be interesting to see if the no shoes leads to a little slippage as we take a look at the tail of the tape for Quinones and Wesley Drain. 32 and 33 years old. Drain is a couple of inches taller and has a 5-inch reach advantage as well. Hand size definitely in Quinones' corner, who is the underdog coming into this one, as we send it to our Power Slap announcer, Justin Bernard.
Ladies and gentlemen, this match is 3 rounds in the Power Slap middleweight division and presented by Double Eagle Injury Law. Slap back by visiting Double Eagle Injury Law today. Introducing first, in the blue corner, he stands 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing in at 185 pounds. Out of Palmdale, California, he is the number 6 ranked middleweight contender in the world, Isaiah, the Puerto Rican pretty boy, Quinones. And in the red corner, he stands 6 feet tall, weighing in at 186 pounds. Out of Tahlequah, Oklahoma, he is the number 2 ranked middleweight contender in the world, Wesley, all the smoke Drain. And when the action begins, your referee in charge, Chris Tione. Winner of the coin toss and striking first, Isaiah Quinones.
Sign up to the Crypto.com app with the code POWER and make a single purchase of $50 or more.
All right, boys, to the center. All right, let's see.
So no shoes for Wesley Drain, and we talked about Quinones coming off his first win. What does that do for the confidence of a guy like Quinones to finally get that W?
Well, you certainly feel like you're doing the right thing because you're getting the rewards and then the results that you're looking for. You know, if you imagine how it feels to come out here and lose and not get the knockouts and all the rest of it. Moved up a weight class, got the knockout, coming into this one, very confident. And
he stumbles it right out of the gate.
First shot. Wobbled him bad. Wesley Drain putting on a show, shaking the shimmy. And now when he swings back, he's got no shoes on. There's no traction. You can't generate enough power and stick.
And the pivot and the heel lift are exaggerated when you're not wearing shoes. You know, we didn't talk about the strength of Quinones. He benches 415 pounds. His first fight at middleweight was his last fight. That was his first win, not cutting as much weight.
Okay, stay set.
And
he says this is his proper weight class. It looks like it's paying dividends.
100%, because Wesley Drain has got a granite chin. We said that on the walk. He's never been knocked out. First shot.
You got right on 3.
Almost put him to sleep. Now, Drain's taking this a lot more serious these days. Rocked up with no shoes on. He's got...
That's a club.
Clubbing foul on the experienced Wesley Drain. Nobody
1 point clubbing.
has more matches than Wesley Drain.
1 point clubbing.
And to start out like this, kind of a surprise for a veteran guy like Wesley Drain.
It's a big surprise. And it wouldn't surprise me now if they made that a 10-7 round because it was a foul, so you lose a point.
Whatever you want.
Quiñones clearly won the round, almost knocked him out as well, so that's why I'd give him a 10-8 if I'm honest. And then you take the point away as well. Quiñones way ahead on the scorecards.
How do you get your scorecard up there so quick? It's magical.
It's called math. I do it in my brain. I just do it instantly. There you go. Oh, you mean on the screen? Yeah. I don't know.
Remember that championship fight against John Davis? He had a third-round clubbing there and a stepping in the first round, which cost him the title in a 5-round fight.
Hey, just a reminder.
That was way back in May of 2023 against John the Machine Davis.
Okay. All right.
So here comes Quiñones. The Puerto Rican pretty boy stumbles Drain out of the gate. Going to try to finish him here in the second round after a 10-7 first round, at least by Bisping's scorecard.
Stay right there. Don't move. You're perfect.
I understand again why, if there's a foul, they give them 2 minutes.
Right
However,
on 3.
I'd like to
Right
see
on
that
3. You
tweaked.
must measure. That's your measure.
If you don't need the 2 minutes, don't let them take it.
1.
Slows down the pace.
Quiñones with another strong slap.
Fair blow.
And Drain, he took it well initially. Then it started to sink in, the damage.
He is absolutely feeling all of it.
Looking a bit confused there.
Yeah.
A little cross-eyed.
Fair blow already.
I can say that, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
I think you're okay.
There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, when it comes, you can say whatever you want about the ice. Yeah.
A little vacant.
You've got 25 seconds.
All right, so 25 seconds of recovery time, now down to 20. As Wesley Drain getting a little extra chalk and getting coached up by Robert Trujillo.
Hey, recovered.
I don't feel like Drain went barefoot in the past. Do you remember that? It never works out for anybody. It never works out. It's a massive mistake.
That's your measure.
There's a reason why shoes, running shoes, track shoes were invented, because you get traction. Oh, bit of blood on the face. Must have been a good amount of power, but flinching foul. Oh, here we go. You know what that means.
All right, so the flinching foul has been called on the Puerto Rican pretty boy. Let's look at this.
I didn't see a flinch.
You can bite down, but you can't.
That's not a flinch.
I'm not seeing it. I don't know if the super slow motion doesn't allow us to see it.
That is not a flinch.
It does not look like a flinch to me.
Yeah, and the crowd knows.
Yeah.
So you have a choice.
I'm sorry.
Do you want to take that slap, or do you want to hit him again? Hit him again.
He's going to hit him again.
He has choked. Yes.
I'm not sure why we have replay if we're not using a replay.
Yes, correct.
Time out.
There's been a couple of bad calls tonight.
So in comes Damian DeBell, the blue corner coach, and the cut man now up to clean up Pretty Boy's face. Can't have a nickname like Pretty Boy with blood all over your face, you know what I mean?
See, again, it's like I'm criticizing, but he flinched, so he gets to go again, right? But all of this here is slowing it down, the accumulation factor for Wesley Drain. So he braces his body. Look at this. This is what they're calling a flinch, the way that he brings the shoulders up. But the head is not moving at all.
I don't think the shoulders come up. I think a lot of guys do that. Maybe you have to do it a little earlier.
And count. Right on 2 with a measure.
They've never called that a flinch before, though.
So here goes Drain getting the second shot here in the second round. Let's see if he can do some damage on 2.
That's massive for Drain, though, because he's coming back into this.
To be honest, he did the exact same thing. So I'm glad they didn't call it, but he did the same thing.
Yeah, he did the exact same thing.
Fair blow.
So they did not take a point for flinching. They just allowed Drain to deliver a second blow here in the second round. The ladies
30 seconds.
a little distraught by what they're seeing here tonight, but enjoying it nonetheless.
25.
Nonetheless, that was
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
UFC's Octagon girl. She's seen a bit of blood before.
Indeed.
Come on.
Indeed. It's always a little different when you attend Power Slap, and we are filling up to the rafters here, Michael Bisping.
We are. We need a
Free
knockout.
cover. Okay, step up. There you go, bud. Stay right there.
So Drayton
Don't move.
clearly landing with a lot of
Hand and
power
count.
because you see the blood coming
Right
out
on
of the
3.
face
You must
of
measure.
Quiñones.
That's your
But let's
measure.
remember, Isaiah Quiñones has wobbled him every time.
1, 2.
And down goes Drain for the first time in his 10-fight Power Slap career.
And the crowd goes crazy. He's almost up. 8. Nah, that's it.
That's it! That's it! Quiñones with the huge upset over Wesley Drain. Tonight's Monster Knockouts brought to you by Monster Energy. Unleash the Beast.
I tell you what, the crowd loved that one. They're all on their feet now. Fair play to Drain. He took a massive shot, was wobbled every time. This one put him down hard. You see here, almost headbutts the table, kind of comes around, saves himself any embarrassment in terms of headbutts, but then falls on the ground. Fights hard, slowly but surely got to his knees. Look at the blood, just the slobber. Forrest catches him momentarily. That's a great angle. Catches himself just there before he headbutts the table. Forrest steps in, saves the day, puts him down. Referee ushers him away, so he's got to be by himself, use his own will to stand up. And he's trying, God bless him, but it was not meant to be. Isaiah Pretty Boy Quiñones gets the job done.
How about Isaiah Quiñones starting his career with 2 straight losses, now 2 straight wins. And this one over the self-proclaimed OG of the sport, Wesley Drain. Let's send it to Justin Bernard.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Chris Tiani calls a stop to the match in round number 3, declaring the winner by TKO, Isaiah, the Puerto Rican Pretty Boy Quiñones.
So it's 2 in a row now for Isaiah Quiñones, the Puerto Rican Pretty Boy, stepping up and stepping up big here at Power Slap 8. It is time for the main card, which starts right now.
Field of Greaves, the official superfood of Power Slap.
Feeling a bit sluggish? Try 1775 Coffee's limitless supplements and unlock your full cognitive potential. Who knows? You might just be the next Einstein. Well, probably not. But try it anyway. Unlock your limitless potential.
Oh, get the Estrella, Jalisco, get the Kudo protein popcorn. Get it all because Power Slap 8, presented by Monster Energy, Unleash the Beast. The main card has arrived here at the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas. 5 fights on the way, 2 of them of the championship variety, and former UFC star Paige Van Zandt making her Power Slap debut. Here we go. Power Slap 8 to Crazy Hawaiian versus Van Heerden, presented by Monster Energy, Unleash the Beast. A massive light heavyweight matchup kicking things off. It's Austin Turpin and Vernon Cathy. Then our first of 2 super heavyweight matchups, Camille Marusarge taking on the Russian sensation Dumpling. Paige Van Zandt making her Power Slap debut against Christine Wolmerans. In the co-main, it's No Love, Emmanuel Muniz and Anthony Babyface Blackburn. And then the main event, our super heavyweight title fight, the champ, the Crazy Hawaiian versus Danny Van Heerden out of South Africa. And now it is time for the table to rise once again because of a weight miss by Austin Turpin. He forfeits the right to go first, so the powerful Vernon Catney will have a chance to end it on the first slap, something we've seen him do all too often. Austin Turpin has made headlines with his personality and his performances since his power slap debut, but the soft-spoken veteran Vernon Catney believes he's got what it takes to stop Turp Daddy Slim tonight.
Top 5 light heavyweight contenders Austin Turpin and Vernon Catney have arrived in Las Vegas with a golden opportunity to not just pick up another win, but to move into position to make the kind of statement that may very well land them in a world title fight sooner rather than later.
You know, I'm glad they gave me some clown like Vernon. You know, he's knocked out some Slim Jim, some weasels, but I'm a whole new animal, something he's never seen before.
You know, everything's on the line in this fight. I mean, it should be a title match. It's not because of him, so I'm going to make this one a title match.
In April, Austin Turpin shocked the world when he stopped Ron Wolverine Beta in the 5th round of their rematch. And while Turp Daddy Slim didn't leave with the light heavyweight crown due to a weight miss, a win over Vernon Catney may land him the rubber match for the belt that he so craves.
Vernon, a.k.a. Dorothy, better hope some twister comes through Kansas and rips his ass and takes him to see the Wizard of Oz, because he don't want to see Turp Daddy Slim tonight on that power slap stage.
2 months after his 40th birthday, Vernon Catney remains as dangerous as ever on the power slap stage, and for proof, look no further than his 2 most recent bouts, as he knocked out both Bear Bennett and Delvin Hamlin, setting up a match with one of the best light heavyweights in the game.
It's fine if you talk with a big mouth, but if you don't win, it makes yourself look like a fool, and I'm here to make him look like a fool.
Interesting and thoughtful guys on the roster. He's a mechanic, he's a strong man, he's a farmer. He started his career with 2 first-round KOs, then he got knocked out twice, including a title fight. He's rebounded nicely with knockout wins in his last 2, and he feels like he's still getting better even at 40 years old.
Yeah, but this man is a knockout artist. It's as simple as that. Every time he stepped up on this stage, somebody's gone to sleep. Granted, some of the times it has been him, but most of the time it has been his opponents. The narrative was that he could give it, but he couldn't take it. Well, he put that to bed because last time he did make it to the 2nd round. Coming in against Austin Turpin, he's very confident that once again he's going to get the job done. But he said, in terms of his approach, he needs to get more amped up. He's a little bit too relaxed. He just kind of sits there and lets people slap him in the face. So this one, he's going to tense up. He's going to be a little bit more wild, but he's still going to bring that signature power.
And he's never lost as an underdog, which he is tonight, plus 150. Oh, the run out.
Let's go, the DC special.
By Turp Daddy Not So Slim, a minus 180 favorite. He's a massive fan favorite. The most dynamic personality in the promotion, but he has missed weight 2 straight times. It cost him a title the last time around. You have to question his motivation a little. He missed by 10 pounds, Michael.
Not even close. Now, he swears that he's not taking this for granted. He said, I haven't been out there partying and stuff like that. I have been training my ass off. But this is what I love about this guy. Listen, the weight miss is terrible, of course, but let's move past that for a second. The man is intensity personified. Look at this. Look at the way he whips the crowd into a frenzy. He's going to rip his top off in a minute as well. He'll be slapping people. He has massive power. He's got a great chin, and he is an absolute showman.
Turp Daddy Slim got married a few months ago, has a baby boy on the way with his wife, Nicole. A 30% purse reduction because of the massive weight miss. But he is coming out ready to make some noise. Tail the Tape is brought to you by Estrella Jalisco, an authentic cerveza dorado and the official beer of Power Slap. A weight there listed at 215, so he misses by 10 pounds. Does Austin Turpin. Vernon Catney was none too pleased. He said, but there's no way I wasn't going to take this fight. And you see there that 30% purse reduction for a second weight miss for Austin Turpin. Here's Justin.
Ladies and gentlemen, this match is 3 rounds in the Power Slap Light Heavyweight division and presented by Monster Energy. Unleash the Beast. Introducing first in the blue corner. He stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 205 pounds. Out of Gypsum, Kansas. He is the number 3 ranked light heavyweight contender in the world. Vernon, the Mechanic Cathy. And in the red corner, he stands 6 feet tall, weighing in at 215 pounds. Out of Jacksonville, Florida, he is a number 1 ranked light heavyweight contender in the world. Austin Turp Daddy Slim Turpin.
Fuck you!
And when the action begins, your referee in charge, Kerry Hatley. Winner of the coin toss and striking first, Vernon Cathy.
Props to watch here. Will there be a first round knockout in Turpin versus Cathy? Yes, plus 125, no, minus 155. So the odds say not likely.
Well, Vern Cathy has knocked out 3 people with the first shot.
Yes, he has.
Austin Turpin has a great chin. Austin Turpin is fired up, though. He's a madman.
This match is presented by Double Eagle Injury Law. Injured?
Gentlemen, here we
Slap
go.
back by visiting Double Eagle Injury Law today.
Make sure we're touching. Get set.
Now, the 10 pounds, the extra weight that he has, that will help Austin Turpin. Look at the thickness of the neck, the jaw, the weight, the power.
Blue, right on 3.
The ability to absorb and to dish it out.
Look how Turp turtles up that neck, though.
But look at Vern Cathy, get ready.
Turpin gives him a stare down right, leaves him hanging. No pound for you, my friend.
Yeah, so Austin Turpin, he's a showman. He's got a great chin, massive power though. So as we know, the narrative of Vern Cathy, he can give it, but he can't take it. That's not necessarily true. It's not fair, but that's what they say. Well,
you seem to bring it up every fight, you know. He remembers that.
He did remember it. He had a go at me. He said, my wife, my children, and my people back home, they're not happy with you, Bisping.
Ready, Turp.
Well,
he's been able to take it the last 2 fights against Delvin Hamlet and Bear Bennett.
Right on 3.
Let's see how he can do here against Turp Daddy, not so slim. Turpin said he's weighing 225 to 230 pounds for a 205-pound match after this.
Yeah, way over.
1, 2.
Kind of a different windup. It was almost like a.
It was very elegant.
Like a whippy.
It's like.
Yeah.
It was
like a dance move.
A ballerina flair to it. You know.
Did you like it?
I didn't like it.
I didn't either.
I wanted to see violence.
That was terrible.
Was there a flinch? There might have been a flinch. No, there wasn't a flinch.
Make sure you're still.
See, because when I look at the replay, I take notice of it.
Oh, you watched the. You actually watched the replay.
Was there a flinch?
I hear you.
I looked at it. I'm like, no, there was no flinch.
Look at that stare
right
from
on
Austin
3.
Turpin.
Right on 3. There's your
Pitbull
measure.
chewing a wasp.
1, 2.
Yeah, it's not looking good. I think this is over. He's up.
No way.
And he's back down. It's over.
That's it. He's doing the Humpty Hump.
Oh, in your face.
There you go, Vern. Vern with the biggest win of his career.
Wins by knockout. His opponent misses weight. Disrespects him. Round 2 gets a beautiful knockout.
Gotta feel good for Vernon Cathy. energy. He said he was disgusted by the lack of professionalism from Turpin. Tonight's Monster Knockouts brought to you by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast.
And let's just remember, Vernon Cathy is a class act. He's a credit to this sport. Never any controversy. He's just a nice human being, trains hard. He's had some incredible matches. He was disgusted, as you said, when Austin missed weight like that, when he wasn't even close. But that's the best way. That's the best way to handle it. Come in and knock him out.
Can we finally put to bed? He can dish it out, but he can't take it. Can we put that to bed now?
100%. I've never said that. I've said that other people have said that. I've merely reported the news, and he has certainly put that to bed. He has dispelled that myth once and for all.
Vernon Cathy delivers the monster knockout, just a crushing blow.
Boom!
That was beautiful.
Look at that, all the way through.
The official decision presented by Kudo Protein Popcorn. Head to kudosnacks.com now and enter the promo code SLAP for 25% off your order.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Kerry Hatley calls a stop to the match in round number 2, declaring the winner by TKO, Vernon the Mechanic Cathy.
And I'm here with the winner, Vernon Cathy, with probably the biggest win yet of your career here in Power Slap. What is going through your mind?
Like I always say, I'm here to do the job. The job's done.
Is the job done? I feel like you still have a lot to accomplish, but talking about what you just did you feel like you had something to prove when you got up here tonight, especially being the fact that you might have felt a bit disrespected because Austin Turpin missed weight for the second time in a row?
It's just so disrespectful, and I actually wanted to go 3 rounds just so I could get everyone to shut up. But other than that...
But it didn't take 3 rounds. I mean, you had a strong shot in the first round, but the second round, you came out full violence on your mind.
Yeah, I just step it up every hit. So, yeah, I mean, he hit me hard, though. He hit me very hard.
Okay, so now that you have this big accomplishment underneath your belt, what's next?
I want that title shot! Yep, that's what I need and that's what I want.
Well, I hope you get it. Well done.
All right, thank you so much, Charlie.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, Vernon Cathy.
That post-fight interview brought to you by 10X Health Precision Nutrition Wellness. Go to 10xnutrition.com. Tonight's 10-count replay brought to you by 10X World. 10X your business, 10X your income, 10X your life. Go to 10xworld.com. God bless.
2, 3,
finish of the night so far. You knew the moment it landed, Turp Daddy was close to going to sleep. He tried to get up, man. It was a valiant effort by Austin Turpin. Tonight's Power Slap Celeb Cam brought to you by Arsenal Strength. There's Taylor Lewan, former Tennessee Titan Pro Bowler, bussing with the boys. Cam Jordan, perennial Pro Bowler, stud defensive end for the New Orleans Saints. And of course, Mark Coleman, UFC Hall of Fame inductee, is here as well. The stars are in the building. The first of 2 super heavyweight fights on the main card is coming up. It's the Power Slap debut of the man they call Dumpling. Vasily Kamatsky is a Russian farmer who stumbled upon slap fighting 6 years ago, and he's been dominating ever since. Tonight, Dumpling gets a chance to hone his craft on the biggest stage in the sport against this man, Kamil Marusars. The Chicago native has some serious toughness that he's shown, going the distance against 2 powerful opponents in his previous 2 matches. Tonight, he's searching for his first win and feels like a renewed focus and training program will do the trick. It's Dumpling and Marusars up next.
Power Slap 8 is brought to you by Crypto.com. Sign up to the Crypto.com app with the code POWER and make a single purchase of $50 or more. By Monster Energy, unleash the beast. By Power Slap Mobile. Download and play today to access new features and rewards. And by Estrella Jalisco, an authentic Cerveza Dorado and the official beer of Power Slap.
Power Slap 8, the Crazy Hawaiian versus Van Heerden is presented by Monster Energy. Unleash the Beast. We have a couple of beasts ready to make the walk. One of them making his first trip from Russia to the States. All the way from a farm in Serbia. No need to wait until July to see some of the best super heavyweights on the planet go toe-to-toe. We have it for you right here, right now. A pivotal figure in the rise of slap fighting, Russia's Dumpling will now test himself on the sport's biggest stage, where steel-chinned and upset-minded Windy City native Kamil Maroussarge will be waiting for him.
A pioneer of slap fighting who made his name on the circuit in his native Russia, Dumpling has now arrived in the United States to take to the Power Slap stage in search of a world title. And fans cannot wait to see him in action, while Kamil Maroussarge is determined to score the upset in emphatic fashion.
I'm tough for Dumpling because I've been in this sport already 2 times in the States. And while they have the same concept over there, they don't follow the same rules, and that's gonna mess them up here.
Посмотрим, насколько он крепко мне челюсть. Я всем говорю, что в этом виде спорта как бы не важно, как ты бьешь, а как ты держишь удар.
Kamil Maroussarge knows what he's up against when he faces Dumpling tonight, but Chicago's Polar Bear proved his toughness in 3-rounders with James Stonyer and the Crazy Hawaiian. And with power to match, he's intent on shocking the world as soon as he gets his chance to strike.
Tonight I'm gonna live up to my name, the Polar Bear, because I'm big, tough, built like a polar bear, big as me as in front of him.
Dumpling has influenced countless slap fighters over the years, and with his arrival in Power Slap, the 34-year-old has the chance to show his peers that he's in his prime and about to make a run at the super heavyweight belt that will take him and the sport to new levels.
Мое послание всем супертяжам: я приехал, бойтесь. После сегодняшнего боя хочу, чтобы фанаты знали, что вот приехал русский чемпион.
And here is Kamil Maroussarge, the Polar Bear, a plus 320 dog. Says his main focus has been no fouls. He's been penalized in his last 2 fights. Really ramped up his training 2 to 3 times a day sometimes, Charlie.
Yeah, he's a very hard worker. And let me tell you, the very first thing, guys, when I met with Kamil Maroussarge yesterday, I shook his hand and I was like, oh my God, what the hell? His hands are completely calloused, like hard calluses from top to bottom. So I was like, what's the deal? Why do your hands feel like this? It's because he's a bricklayer and he doesn't wear gloves on the job. It's his busiest time of the year. He is working morning till night, 10-hour days. So you talk about he's training 2 to 3 times a day. So sometimes he's waking up at 2:30, 3 a.m. to get some slaps in even before his shift starts. Kamil says obviously it's an honor to go up against a legend in the sport like Dumpling, but says his plan is to stop him right in his tracks. And guys, judging by those very calloused hands, I would bet if he delivers with enough force, it could leave an insane mark on Dumpling's face.
Oh, 100%. But he feels that Dumpling is going to foul a lot because out in Russia, Dumpling, they don't have the same rule set. So Maroussarge coming into this one, yeah, he's working hard, training hard, all the rest of it, but he feels very confident.
These fighter walkouts brought to you by 10X Health, Precision Nutrition Wellness. Go to 10xnutrition.com. For the first time on U.S. soil making the walk is Dumpling, the 34-year-old pig farmer from Siberia. Says that's basically what he does for his workout. Gets that pig feed, dumps it in the trough, works in the field. This is This is a monumental moment for this guy who has been dominating slap fighting other places in the world to be in the promotion now.
And just like Alexander Volkov last week, if you saw the UFC, he was getting combed in between rounds. He gets his beard combed there as well. So this guy Dumpling, yeah, he's a legend, and look at where this has brought him. It's brought him to the other side of the world. Dana, this is one of the first people that Dana saw, so that's what kind of inspired Power Slap. And he just loves this. He's probably living the dream right now. He can't believe that he's here. He's in Las Vegas. He comes from Siberia. That is a very cold place. He said that Vegas is incredibly hot. He's been to the Hoover Dam. He's been up to Red Rock. He's had a lot of fun. But now the fun stops. Now it's time to get serious. Doesn't really train because he doesn't have to. I mean, look at the man. 352 pounds at 5'9", right? He's very wide. He's very round. He's barrel-esque. Typically, people like that have natural power. He doesn't lift any weights or anything like that. He just works on the farm down.
He doesn't need to. A 10-1 record as a pro slap fighter. As we take a look at detail of the tape brought to you by Estrella Jalisco, an authentic Cerveza Dorado and the official beer of Power Slap. Camilo Marusar's a much bigger man at 6'3". You can see the reach difference, 5 inches, but he's still a plus 320 dog to a guy who has been one of the most potent slap fighters on the planet. Let's send it to Justin.
Ladies and gentlemen, this match is 3 rounds in the Power Slap Super Heavyweight Division and presented by Rumble, bold and free. Download the Rumble app or visit rumble.com. Introducing first in the blue corner, he stands 6 feet 3 inches tall, weighing in at 291 pounds. Out of Chicago, Illinois, he is a number 9 ranked super heavyweight contender in the world, Camille Polar Bear Marisage. And in the red corner, he stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 365 pounds. Out of Elonsky, Russia, he is the viral sensation making his Power Slap Super Heavyweight debut. Ladies and gentlemen, Dumpling! And when the action begins, your referee in charge, Chris Taioni. Winner of the coin toss and striking first, Dumpling.
Here's a look at the odds. Is there going to be a first round knockout? Plus 220 on the yes and minus 275 on the no. The Power Slap online shop now open. Purchase official Power Slap apparel and merch at www.shop.powerslap.com. A fanatics experience.
You know you're a legend in a sport when you only need one name. You know, it's like Cher, Prince, Seal, Dumpling.
We've been waiting a long time for this guy. We've been watching him.
We really have.
On Instagram and YouTube for a long time. Look at him. Like he looks like he has the shoes of a farmer. Nice and broken in, ready to go.
Right on 3. Okay, you may go.
If you ask me, or you ask
Right
AI,
on three.
draw
You
me
must
a
measure.
Siberian farmer, I think that's what they come up with.
He looks like one, doesn't he?
He does, but look at that wind up.
2.
Get ready. Unconscious. That's the kind of power that man possesses. Unbelievable. Camille Marisage, he's a big man, 6'3". He's been as heavy as 300 pounds. He just slapped the shit out of him.
Tonight's Monster Knockouts brought to you by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast. Listen to this.
Yeah, but look at that wind up. Boom! Instantly, he was done. Almost headbutted the ref on his way down. Poor guy. Oh! Earth-shattering.
Jeez, just mushed.
Oh, look at that. The eyes roll back in the head. I mean, the lights are off there. And they ain't coming back off for quite some time. He's still down right now.
Yeah,
getting
Marv
medical
Sars hasn't
attention.
even moved. The official decision presented by Kudo Protein Popcorn. Head to kudosnacks.com now and enter the promo code SLAP for 25% off of your order.
The crowd are loving this, though.
They love him.
They love a good knockout. And they love the dumpling.
He's a 5'9", 350-pound living legend.
Let's go.
Speaking of legends, let's send it to Justin.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Chris Tione calls a stop to the match in round number 1, declaring the winner by knockout, Dumpling!
How about the fact that Alexander Volkov is in his corner? You mentioned combing his hair just like Alexander Volkov. That was Alexander Volkov. And the congratulations from Dana White.
So they're going to be having a laugh at the combing stuff, but never mind that anyway, because, I mean, talk about making a huge impression. Dana wanted to bring him to the promotion. Wasn't easy, had to go through multiple countries to get here, but he certainly made it all worth it. Let's take a look one more time. Boom.
Oh, my.
Massage hits the deck. So Camille Massage.
Oh. So clean, so crispy, so powerful. This guy is the truth.
I tell you what, 5'9", but he's got very, very long arms, and that kind of adds to the leverage, helps with the power, of course. This man was just built for this. Happy to say that the polar bear, Massage, is back on his feet. Oh, look at that. I'm stuck in a freeze frame.
That's great.
Dana's eyes have lit up. He's like, yep, that's why we brought him.
Look at that. That's awesome.
Yep.
You know, he has the Russian interpreter. Get a little hug from Frank there. One of the higher ups in Power Slap. And there's Volkov.
Yeah, big old Volkov.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Just a couple of winners right there.
I mean, that's makes it all worth it, right? You come all that way
What
in
a
the
moment.
first round knockout. Steal the show so far. Big, big things coming for the Dumpling.
A 3-leg flight from Siberia, Russia, all the way to here in Las Vegas. Took nearly 20 hours. Dumpling in the building and making some noise. There's Kyle Forgard, the YouTuber and comedian from the Nelk Boys. He's around all the time. And Max Crosby, the 3-time Pro Bowl defensive end for the LA Raiders. And Cowboy Cerrone, now in the UFC Hall of Fame. These locker room shots brought to you by Brickhouse Nutrition. Build better nutrition, one brick at a time at brickhousenutrition.com. Former UFC star Paige Van Zandt set to make the walk for the first time in Power Slap. She last fought in the UFC in 2020. Injuries forced her to move on to boxing, and she's confident those skills will translate for Power Slap. Her opponent, Christine Wolmarans, also has combat sports experience and comes in as a decorated Taekwondo national champion in her native South Africa. Up next, it's the ladies taking the stage. Van Zandt told us she actually wanted to go second so she could show some of that legendary toughness and eat a slap. But she won the toss, so 12 gauge will be going first. A household name in the fight world, Paige Van Zandt's latest combat sports endeavor brings her to the Power Slap stage, and she expects a dominant performance tonight against Christine Wolmarans.
An international star who has done it all in combat sports, from fighting in the UFC to competing in bare knuckle and traditional boxing fights, Paige VanZant is now looking to test herself on the Power Slap stage. And she will jump right into the fire when she meets South Africa's Christine Wolmarans.
One thing that everyone's always said is how tough I am, and Power Slap is one of those tests of ultimate toughness, and I feel like I can out-tough a lot of people.
I believe I'll be too much for Paige to handle with just my strength and my endurance and my toughness. I can take it whatever she's going to throw at me.
A 9-fight veteran of the UFC, Paige VanZant has never been content in her athletic endeavors. So it's no surprise that after building her skill set in other fighting disciplines, she's decided that the next logical step was Power Slap, where she intends to dominate, starting tonight against Christine Wolmarans.
My goal tonight is to win, of course. I want to go out there and I want to slap as hard as I can and come out and knock somebody out. That's the goal for Power Slap.
A seasoned vet who has also competed in mixed martial arts professionally, Christine Wolmarans knows the opportunity ahead of her tonight, and with the world watching, she expects to bring her A-game in her second business trip to Las Vegas in order to spoil VanZant's debut and pick up her first Power Slap victory.
I see myself going all the way to hopefully one day a title shot as well, so I definitely think you're going to see me tonight bringing that and having that in mind. I've got everything on this.
Christine the Edge Wolmarans, the 36-year-old from South Africa, realizes and relishes the opportunity in this high-profile matchup. Like VanZant, she has an MMA background with 3 pro fights and was a national champ in Taekwondo, training all the time in MMA with her wife, who's actually her coach as well. She lost her first fight to Sheena Bathory, but she feels like she's a different slap fighter coming into this one. She's really pumped up and juiced up for this matchup.
Yeah, that's right. As you mentioned, she did lose by KO to Sheena Bathory. So because of that, she's been doing a lot of training, a lot of neck training specifically to improve the ability to absorb the shot. She's done a lot of combat sports, as you mentioned, and she's also got a little bit of a chip on her shoulder. She said, if Paige VanZant thinks she's going to come over here and use me as a stepping stone to be successful, she's got another thing coming. Now, she does have respect for Paige. Of course, she's aware of her and her career, knows she's been around the world and fought all over the place. But for Christine Wolmarans, she's here to win this one.
The biggest star we have had in Power Slap, Paige VanZant, has a winning record in the UFC, has moved on to boxing and bare knuckle boxing, a massive following on social media, success on OnlyFans, Dancing with the Stars. She's been on Chop. She's all over the place. Said she's been known as a tough girl for a long time, and this is the ultimate test of toughness.
Yeah, look, listen, this is a prime example of using a bit of exposure, a bit of opportunity, and make the most out of it. Right? She went on the UFC, she built a following, she went on Dancing with the Stars, boxing, bare knuckle, you name it. This girl's done it all. She's not afraid to try out new things. She says that she's a gangster, she's here to try this out. She's very confident, believes that she can knock out Christine Wolmarans. She's done a tremendous amount of training for this one down at American Top Team. By the way, that's one of the top gyms on the planet. And they couldn't believe it when she accepted this fight. She said all the UFC fighters down there pretty much lost their mind, thought she was crazy.
And she's a plus 110 dog. Circuit sports betting the way it should be. The tail of the tape is brought to you by Estrella Jalisco on authentic cerveza dorada and the official beer of Power Slap. Here's a look at the numbers. Wolmarans older by 6 years. She's 1 inch taller, has a slight 1 inch reach advantage. Most importantly, she's a minus 130 favorite over the former UFC star, Paige VanZant, as we send it to our Power Slap announcer, Justin Bernard.
Ladies and gentlemen, this match is 3 rounds in the Power Slap Women's Bantamweight Division and presented by Power Slap Shop, the official online store of Power Slap. Introducing first in the blue corner, she stands 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighing in at 135 pounds. Out of Pretoria, South Africa, Christine the Edge Fulmerans. And in the red corner, she stands 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighing in at 134 pounds. Out of Coconut Creek, Florida, she is the former UFC women's bantamweight, making her power slap debut. 12-gauge Paige Van Zandt. And when the action begins, your referee in charge is Mark Smith. Winner of the coin toss and striking first, Paige Van Zandt.
These props to watch brought to you by Circus Sports. Sports betting the way it should be. Will Paige Van Zandt win by knockout in the first round? Plus 315 on the yes,
right,
minus
ladies,
400 on the no.
Wait for me, Paige.
So there's a lot of pressure on Paige Van Zandt here. Let's be honest, she's got the name already. She's got the experience. She's the younger person. She's been in the UFC. She's fought bare knuckle. She's very, very experienced.
All right, left on 3.
And Fulmerans is pretty much an unknown, let's be honest.
100%.
Yeah.
That MMA experience doesn't always translate into slap fighting. Let's see what it does here at 12 gauge.
2.
Oh, that's a nice shot, though.
Clean slap.
She definitely fell forward. That was a fast shot. A lot of speed. Fulmerans took it well, though.
She's feeling that.
Yeah, see that?
dazed her.
Ooh.
Table saved her.
Table saved her.
Good. All right.
Good power there from
Recover. Stand by.
Paige.
All right, waist, hold there, chin out. All right, with your hand, with your count. Are you
So
going to measure?
Paige now, given all the fight experience that she's
right,
got, the
on
hard part is
one,
going to be
with the measure.
not flinching, not reacting.
That's your measure.
Just close the eyes. That's what I'd do.
Little wave, she shakes it off. Good clean slap by both ladies in the first round. Advantage Van Zandt.
Big time. Big time. By far the better connection, the bigger reaction, just all around the better slap. Paige took that, no problem whatsoever.
Hold your position, chin out, give her a target.
There was a teeny little flinch there.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well, but I mean,
take up as much.
They didn't call it.
By the way, that doesn't bother
say anything.
Doesn't bother me.
No, it didn't bother me. It was a tiny little part.
Position, hold that.
Sorry, bit.
Recover.
So the referees have kind of been all over the place here tonight. No disrespect, fellas.
Hand count. Left on 3. All right.
So we had a big reaction from Fulmerans. So Van Zandt could possibly get a knockout here.
1, 2.
Another good one, another stumble.
3, 4.
She goes down to an 8. Fulmerans is down.
Doesn't look good. She's up.
She says she's okay. She doesn't know if she is okay or not. She says she's okay.
Looks a bit spaced out. So yeah, the table's the other way, love.
Tonight's Recovery Tonight brought to you by Slate Milk. Fuel up with Slate's delicious high-protein drink. Slate makes you strong.
That's a really fast shot from Paige Van Zandt. And she looks like she's been at the bar all night. And the crowd loved it.
Yeah, they're looking for that knockout from Van Zandt, and she does. She
whips it through.
It's like a gunshot going off when she slaps.
Are you going to measure?
She did, though. She looked like she'd been popping up a bar all night. It's like, oh, I need to go to bed. Don't worry, one more shot like that, she will be taking a nap.
Big one for Fulmerans here. That might be close to a club. That looked like that was on the neck. Oh, Michael Chandler.
All Austin Vanderford, that's her husband. I mean, what a feeling that is.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're quite all right. You're going to stand there and watch a woman. Ooh.
That was close. That was really close.
I'm not a judge, thank God, or a referee, but I'd say that's a club. So she lost that round big time. May have a point off as well.
So Van Zandt getting a little coaching from Robert Trujillo. Remember, Austin Turpin was sent down to American Top Team to work with her a little bit when she decided she was going to take this fight. And you have this as a 10-8.
Shoulders down.
Round 2, 10-9 first round.
Paige didn't take any diet tips from Austin Turpin, thankfully.
I hope not. This could be the final strike of the night if Van Zandt can put her down.
I think we're going to see a knockout.
Oh, another stumbler, and somehow Wolmer stays on her feet, but not for long.
6. She's on.
7. She wants to go again. She's a tough cookie, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, there's no quitting that lady. Fair play to her. She took 3 good shots there. The last 2, of course, put her down. Took her time, clearly still thinking. Got back to her feet. She's still in it. You never know. But I would say she needs a knockout in round 3. But look at Paige Van Zandt. Really, really good form. The feet are stuck to the canvas like super glue. Really put the work in, you can tell that.
That one might have been a teeny bit high too, but I'll tell you what, your point is a great one. For somebody making her debut, the form for Van Zandt overall has been excellent. They did review that one. They're calling it a clean strike.
Recover. Give her a good target.
Yes, Fulmerant, as I said, it's pretty clear. She needs a knockout. The power hasn't been there all night, though, to be honest, so...
It will be a massive comeback here.
But you never know.
All Van Zandt has to do is eat it, and victory is hers.
And she knows it.
Paige Van Zandt, her husband going crazy, and the audience, just a dominating performance. 30-26 on your scorecard, Bisping.
Yeah,
look
without
at that
question.
emotion.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was a clear domination from start to finish for Paige Van Zandt. She hit better, she hit cleaner, she hit faster, she took the shots better. Fulmerant's, I mean, she hit the deck almost every single time, so it's pretty easy one to judge that. Congratulations to Paige Van Zandt. Makes her debut, gets a win. Didn't get the knockout, but still put on a pretty good show.
There's a chance here they could be calling a flinch.
I mean,
it was similar to the first round where she moves the head a little bit.
I mean, talk about, she's lost the fight.
It's a little anticlimactic at this point.
But hold on, you might have flinched. So we're just going to give Paige an extra go, an extra attempt at trying to knock you out. So come back here, Christy.
Flinching.
Yeah, they're calling it flinching. Paige gets to go again.
Would you like to slap again?
Oh, no, sorry.
No, so it would be Wolmerant slapping again.
Oh, pardon me, Paige flinched. Look at Paige is happy about it. Hello.
I don't know if she's happy about it, but she doesn't seem to mind that much.
No, she doesn't. Look at that. She's up there. She's got the baton. She's got her chin stuck out. She's like, yeah,
well,
sure.
She knows she has this one, but she can ill afford to flinch again.
No, but what a great attitude. Oh my word, could you imagine Wolmerant knocks her out in this situation?
That would be the most remarkable comeback in the history of Power Slap.
Not today.
We're calling it a clean blow.
Good slap. That's match.
So that was a nice shot by Wolmerant, clean blow. Paige took it well, though. To be honest, Paige had no issue taking any of those shots all night. It's not surprising. She's been in there with some of the best female fighters on the planet. No stranger to combat sports, certainly a stranger to Power Slam, but victorious tonight.
Paige Van Zandt with a very solid debut, a dominating debut against Christine Wolmerant, a former UFC star, Dancing with the Stars star, boxing, bare knuckle. She actually just a star. She actually has another fight coming up in September. I'm curious to see when she's going to be back here on the Power Slap stage.
Yeah, she's a busy girl. Keeps a very, very busy schedule, and I respect that a lot. Willing to try new things.
The official decision presented by Kudo Protein Popcorn. Head to kudosnacks.com now and enter the promo code SLAP for 25% off your order. Here's Justin.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. All 3 judges score the contest 30-25 for the winner by unanimous decision, 12-gauge Paige VanZant.
VanZant with a dominating debut. She forgot she has an interview. Hey, it's her first time. It's okay. She's a Power Slap rookie.
Don't worry about it.
Charlie's on stage waiting to chat. Here's Charlie.
Here you are. We had to track you down.
Sorry.
Your winner, Paige VanZant. People were already talking about you, Paige. They were talking about you all week long before this fight even took place. Now I imagine they are screaming your name even louder. How was your first experience up here?
Honestly, it was absolutely incredible. Of course, I wanted to knock her out the first slap, but I'm so happy that it went the way that it did. I knew I could take a punch. I knew I could take a slap, and that was really fun.
Was it any different than you imagined? I mean, what was going through your mind before you delivered a slap, and then as you were on defense to absorb a slap?
Honestly, what surprised me is how little nervous I was. Like, coming into this, I really just told myself I wanted to have fun and go out there and compete in front of incredible people. And I was surprised I really wasn't that nervous. This feels absolutely incredible. I want to thank Dana for bringing me to Power Slap. I know this is the start of a long relationship.
Amazing, that's what I wanted to hear. I was gonna ask, I know you are a very busy woman, but it seems like if you want it, you are here to stay. So what's next for you in Power Slap?
You know, honestly, this is too much fun to walk away from. That was so awesome. So yeah, I told everybody I'm a gangster. I keep the pimp hand strong. My mom's here with her 39-year-old boyfriend. So Joel, I got a strong pimp hand.
You certainly do, Paige. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner by unanimous decision, Paige VanZant.
All right, 39-year-old boyfriend. Props to Mama VanZant as well. What a debut by Paige VanZant, and the stars are in the building. Got a lot of repeat customers, special teams, special plays, special players. How about Sketch, the famous Twitch streamer in the house? What's up, brother?
Field of Greens, the official superfood of Power Slap.
Welcome to Power Slap.
Can I get a witness? I'm back with a vengeance.
Holy fucking shit.
Hit me, motherfucker. Come on.
Be strong up there.
Let's fucking go, boys. Ah!
Wow. Damn. I'm back with a vengeance.
This top 10 welterweight rankings presented by Kudo Protein Popcorn. Head to kudosnacks.com now and enter the promo code SLAP for 25% off your order. The champion is Emmanuel No Love Muniz. Number 2 on this list, Anthony Babyface Blackburn, and they are set to square off for the title here. Coming up next, tonight's betting odds brought to you by Circa Sports betting the way it should be. The welterweight champ, Emmanuel Muniz, the minus 240 favorite, defending his title for the very first time here at the Fountain Blue Las Vegas. 7 fights into his Power Slap career, No love. Emmanuel Muniz hit the heights of the sports world when he knocked out Christopher Thomas to win the welterweight world title, but he defends tonight against Anthony Blackburn. Emmanuel No Love Muniz. He moved down a weight class after losing 15 pounds.
I went 5 rounds with Chris Thomas. You know, at the time, everyone thought he was this crazy knockout artist. You know, I took 5 of his best blows, and I made it look easy, and I went up there and I slept him on the last one. Having Dana wrap that belt around me, it was amazing. It was an amazing feeling, but it's also a reminder to lock in because there's more to come. My first title defense is going to be against Anthony Blackburn. I feel super excited. I feel like he's a very worthy opponent, and I'm excited to get up there and put on a show.
I'm never going to back down. If you do knock me down, I'm going to get right back up, and I'm coming right at you. A lot of these strikers out here, they have girlfriends, kids. I have none of that. My only responsibility is me. I have a lot of free time to put into Power Slap. First time I ever took a strike to my face was Power Slap 1. I stayed up, composed myself, came back and hit him with the buzzer beater. I think that my technique is going to be a problem for anybody in the welterweight division, especially Manny. I'm coming for war, and will be battle ready.
I don't think anybody in this class stops me. I don't think anybody in this class compares to me at the end of the day. I'm extremely confident in myself. While I think Anthony is a great competitor, he's not on my level, and none of these guys are on my level. I plan on putting him out tonight. I'm here, and I'm here to stay. Coming getting this belt from me is not going to be easy.
If Manny overlooks me, he's going to lose his belt. I will outstrike him. I will outgrit him. I will outperform him. No one's ever knocked him down, but to be the first to knock out Manny and then have his belt, that would be legendary.
I hit a whole lot harder than he thinks I do, and that chin's not going to last as long as he thinks it is. I don't plan on going 5 rounds tonight at all. I want to get this one done early.
I cannot wait to hit Manny so hard that he loses that swagger. There's nothing going to stop me from getting that belt.
These fighter walkouts brought to you by 10X Health, Precision Nutrition Wellness. Go to 10xnutrition.com. Anthony Babyface Blackburn, 3-0-1. His last fight, a second round knockout of former champ Chris Thomas in April, solidified the title shot. Said he hurt his arm in that fight. He's tweaked his neck a little bit a few weeks ago, but all good now. 100% coming into this title fight.
Yeah, and he says this is the moment, Dan, that he has been waiting for since ever first stepping foot on the Power Slap stage. This is his 5th appearance, and he actually has something remarkable to brag about. That's not only the fact that he has an unbeaten record, but he has 0. Absolutely no fouls to his name, which is something you very rarely see in this promotion, at least for the time being. Blackburn now very confident. He stands a very solid shot at victory, and his biggest secret to success, what he calls his secret sauce, if you will, his Detroit grit.
Yes.
And with that, he says he's ready to bring the belt back to his hometown, and he's ready to do it tonight.
Well, he's going to need that Detroit grit because Muniz is no easy opponent, but for Anthony Blackburn, much like any competitor, this is what it's all about, fighting for the belt. That has always been the goal. And now a year and a half later, here he is. He's never lost. He says that he brings the action every time. He's the cleanest. He's got a great chin. He brings a lot of power. And this should be a very, very entertaining title fight.
Said he had to cut about 20 pounds in the last month or so, and said it's the right on one army. He's another guy that wants to go on one. He really feels like he has it down, and it's going to be effective. Defending the welterweight title for the first time after knocking out Chris Thomas for the belt in February. Got knocked down on an illegal strike in that fight, so he said he's been working more on his defensive posture and refining his hand placement, training harder than ever now because he says now there is something to lose.
Yeah, of course there's something to lose. The man is the welterweight champion of the world, and just going back to that matchup where he became the champ, that was one of the best title fights we've seen in all of Power Slap. Of course, it went to the final round. It was a back and forth affair, both men doing a lot of damage, and of course, he gets the knockout in the final round. However, it wasn't a perfect performance on the defensive side. He said that he was far too relaxed. So this time, look for him to be a little more tensed up. He's going to clinch the jaw, tuck the chin, and of course, look for his arm knockout as well. This time, rocking the red hair, not the purple hair like last time. What do you have?
The purple hair last time. He had the rose in the fighter meeting, and you see Cowboy Cerrone rocking the red hair over the cowboy hat as well in support of Emmanuel Muniz. Nice seeing that.
That old Cowboy Cerrone absolutely loves Power Slap. I think he's been at every single event. And of course, he's buying the merch. Emmanuel Muniz, he's got the signature wigs.
The tail of the tape is brought to you by Estrella Jalisco, an authentic cerveza dorada, and the official beer of Power Slap. Here are the numbers. Muniz is the bigger man at 6 feet tall, a 3-inch reach advantage. Hand size is identical to champion, a minus 240 favorite in our co-main event.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the co-main event of the evening. Set for 5 rounds, all for the Power Slap Welterweight Championship of the World. Presented by Happy Dad Hard Seltzer. No more skinny cans. Our judges stateside are Adelaide Bird, Chris Miglior, and Tony Weeks. Introducing to you first, in the blue corner, he stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 169 pounds. Out of Detroit, Michigan, he is a number 2 ranked welterweight contender in the world, Anthony Babyface Blackburn. And in the red corner, he stands 6 feet tall, weighing in at 170 pounds. Out of Ontario, California, he is the undisputed Power Slap welterweight champion of the world, Emmanuel No Love Muniz. And when the action begins, your referee in charge, Kerry Hatley. Winner of the coin toss and striking first, Anthony Blackburn.
Take a look at some props to watch. Circus Sports, sports betting the way that it should be. Will there be a first-round knockout in this fight? Yes is plus 225, minus 280 on the no, so almost 3-1 for no first-round knockout. Rumble, bold and free. Download the Rumble app or visit rumble.com today. All right, here we go.
Emmanuel Muniz is cool as a cucumber.
Always.
He was just leaning about like he's waiting for a bus.
Title fight right here. Hand and count, Blue.
Right on one.
Always calm.
Blue,
always
right
cool.
On one, right on one. You must measure.
Interesting approach from Anthony Blackburn.
He's just stretching it out.
Yep.
There's your measure.
There's the marker.
Blackburn's power looks better each and every fight. Oh, lands a big one.
I never understand why they just go on one. Surely it's better to have a few swings, target practice. However, great shot. Muniz takes it, no problem whatsoever.
Let me ask you a question, and it may seem silly, but when he had the cornrows in the hair, when you have the big floppy hair, it makes it look worse, right? Because the hair's flying around?
It does, 100%. Like, for example, in the UFC, Clay Guida, he would have a similar issue.
Right.
You take shots, the hair flies around everywhere. And if it does come down to a judge's decision, that could go against you. However, he took that with no problem whatsoever. Now Muniz gets revenge. Looks like he's got the bigger hands.
Blackburn eating it.
Blackburn's pissed off. He's not happy. That was a little high.
Just a wee bit high. It looked like a finger raked across the eye. Now, remember, he has an issue with that eye, so it always swells up every fight, and it's actually swollen up a little bit ahead of time to begin with, just naturally.
Yeah, if this goes the distance, it's going to look really bad because it does swell up quite a bit. There it is.
Fighter set.
Yeah, so that's a fair blow. They just confirmed it.
Blue, right on one, right on one.
You got the first round for Blackburn. Let's see what he can do here in the second. 3-0-1 coming in, left to go on one. And another big one, but that chin of no love.
Yeah.
So tough.
I mean, not bothered one little bit. We said before that he was very cool, calm, and collected, and even when he takes the shots, there's hardly any reaction. A little wag of the finger. Yeah, the hair flies everywhere, but you can see that he takes them with no issue whatsoever. So Muniz, he's the champ for a reason.
Muniz has never been knocked out. Both of his losses by split decision of Wesley Drain, by unanimous decision in 2022 to Azael Rodriguez. The other thing that Manny doesn't do a ton is knock guys out. He only has 2 knockouts. He started his career with a knockout against Mike Webster, and then, of course, he knocked out KO Chris Thomas to win the welterweight title back in February.
But he is undefeated in slap, so that's great for him, and he's currently the champion. Blackburn's never been knocked out either. So he's got an easy man to defeat like that. Talk about a death stop.
Might have been just a tiny little flinch here. I want to see again.
A little flinchy?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Kind of a low shot by Manny.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was okay for me.
Yeah, I caught him and he gave me the...
I'll go with it. Fewer fouls, the better. I think we can agree on that.
Yeah, 100%. Let's just keep this thing moving.
Okay, starting round 3. Starting round 3. Hand and count, Blue.
Round 3 already.
Blue, right on one, right on one. There's your measure.
Big reaction. Did he get
big drop in his eye?
Good.
Yeah, the fingers.
And Blackburn gave him the same reaction too, so it's almost like he knew that something could have potentially been committed here. Let's take another look.
It's hard to see from this angle.
It looked like a fair blow to me.
Yeah, well, the referee just said fair blow.
Yeah, that's the way it's been ruled.
Definitely can't see it from that angle. This is a fast match.
Blackburn stepping right up to the table. Muniz using a little bit of the clock. He has 20 seconds left of recovery time. Robert Trujillo in his corner. These guys go way back to season 1 of Road to the Title, the reality series.
Fighter set. Hand and count.
Right on 3.
Right on 3. Right on 3. You must measure.
And let's remember, this is 5 rounds, so just past the halfway mark now.
Underdogs 4-2 tonight. Good start for Blackburn so far.
Side of that face is really starting to go red.
We got another one.
Blackburn letting him hear it. Both of these guys doing a good job of eating these slaps.
Here we go, Red. Takes time, just relax.
Remember, Emmanuel Muniz got knocked down on an illegal blow in his title match with Chris Thomas. He said that forced him to focus a lot more on defense and how he was receiving these slaps, and so far so good for Manny Muniz.
Yeah, and so far I've probably got Blackburn winning all 3 rounds simply because, listen, the slap delivery has been pretty even, but the reaction is a big part of it. And you gotta kind of not sell it. You know, you've got to take it. You know, you can't have the showmanship.
You like the Blackburn screams every time he gets hit.
Yeah, his eyes swelling up big time, of course.
He's taking them all. I feel like that's Muniz's action every time. He's just not screaming and yelling. They're both landing pretty clean shots.
Pretty even so far. No one's particularly been hurt. Yeah, we've seen a little scream from Muniz. We see the swelling of the eye from Blackburn, but we haven't seen anybody wobbled or go down to a knee or anything like that. So, a very close match.
So just kind of relax, but get ready.
You're good, bro. You only got to eat one more.
So you have Blackburn ahead on the scorecards. Muniz, if that is what the judges are seeing, and it's, by my estimation, you're right on point. He's going to need a knockout here in these last 2 rounds.
Okay, hand and count.
2 shots left.
Red, right on 3, right on 3. There's your
measure. Right on 3, round 4, and you write down, probably needs a knockout, but it is close.
2.
Knocks the cotton out of his ear, gets the stare again.
Blackburn just takes it so well.
I do feel like you're right. The strikes that Blackburn are delivering, there's more damage being done.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree, but that was a really nice strike.
It was good.
Good target. Knocks the cotton buds out the ears there. Bit of a saliva sprayed out the face of Anthony Blackburn.
However, as I say that, you see more damage on the face of Blackburn, so I wonder if the judges are going to take that into account.
Yeah, of course. But like you said, though, the eye does swell up every single time. Most people's faces go red when you slap them.
Okay, Blue, right on 1, last round. Right on 1.
All right, this is the final round.
Gonna go on 1 again. Clean fight so far. Props to both men.
Yeah, and Blackburn spoke about that.
Another good one from Blackburn.
And you hear the thud. You know, Muniz ate it well. Nice bit of showmanship, but that was a really hard slap. Great impact. Perfect delivery.
Perhaps the 2 best welterweight slap fighters in the world, and not a foul committed here as we are going into the second slap of a 5-round fight. That's impressive in itself.
And it's also very rare to have this amount of action. 5 rounds, not a single foul on either side. And Blackburn, still at this stage of his career, never fouled once. And that was cool. Throws the stick.
And he catches
it. I know.
Right on 3. Okay, Red. Right on 3. Right on 3.
Let's go, baby.
There's your measure.
Good one, man.
How about the sportsmanship from Blackburn? Pounding him up before the final slap.
2.
He stumbled him. He stumbled him. Best shot of the fight so far. That's the way you want to finish if you're Muniz.
That is a great way to finish. Stumbled him ever so slightly. Nice bit of impact, a great sound. The crowd enjoyed it. Blackburn stays on the feet. We go to the judges' score.
This is going to be fascinating.
It's a close one for sure. Probably 3-2, maybe. Anthony Blackburn or 4-1. But there wasn't much in those rounds, if that makes sense to what I'm saying. That was for sure, though, the best slap of the fight.
By either guy.
Yeah. Great way to finish. Wobbled him. You could catch himself.
You could see it in the windup that Muniz was going for it. He knew he needed a knockout to guarantee a victory.
Well, yeah, mocks him a little bit there, talking a bit of shit. I mean, the man's the champion. You got to do what you got to do. You got to pull it out of the stops. Round 5, close matchup. Give it everything you've got. To be honest, I think this comes down to round one. It's probably 2-2. I gave Blackburn round one, but it was I was like, it could have gone either way, to be honest. So right now, this could go either way. I'm very intrigued to see how the judges score this.
This is fascinating, and there's no way that all three judges score it the same way, right? Because everybody's going to see this a bit differently.
Dana's up on the stage. Blackburn's putting on a show.
Well, it is the first title defense for Manny Muniz. He has two 17-year-old brothers. One of them underwent heart surgery several months ago, had a pacemaker put in, said he's recovering nicely, and really all he tries to do is be an example for his two little brothers. And so far, so good for the former All-State high school football player from Ontario, California.
Now, it does seem to be taking a while to collect the judge's score. I would assume it's very, very close. Well, here we see Justin Bernard. I think the scores are in.
The official decision presented by Kudo Protein Popcorn. Head to kudosnacks.com now and enter the promo code SLAP for 25% off your order.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 5 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. Judge Bird scores about 48-47, Muniz. Judge Migliore scores about 48-47, Blackburn. And Judge Weeks scores it 48-47 for the winner by split decision and new Power Slap welterweight champion of the world, Anthony Babyface Blackburn.
Let's go, baby!
I'm here with the winner and the new welterweight champion, Anthony Blackburn. Anthony, the emotion just now on your face said it all, but try and put into words for me what is going through your mind.
I feel fucking awesome right now. I want to give a big, huge shout out to my family sitting behind me. Coach James Isham, my Michigan fam, my Wyandotte fam, and yeah, all the supporters. This has been awesome.
Anthony, yesterday we spoke, and you predicted accurately this was going to be an all-out war. Did you feel at the end that you had done enough to get your hand raised?
I thought I definitely put 100% effort. It was close. That was a fucking banger of a fight. That was really good. I enjoyed it. I had a great time. Man, wow. Just wow.
And you also talked about, from the second you first took foot onto the Power Slap stage, this was the goal. You've been through a lot in your life. You've been very open about that. So looking at all of that, what does this mean for you?
It's the biggest moment of my life so far. Can't explain myself. It's awesome. This is great. This is great.
Well, Anthony, once again, congratulations. You are now the new welterweight champion of the world.
Anthony Babyface Blackburn. That post-fight interview brought to you by 10X Health, Precision Nutrition Wellness. Go to 10xnutrition.com. Now 4-0-1, and now a champion. As you said, Michael, it came down to how you scored that first round.
Yep. Yeah, a very, very close matchup. Both men should be proud of themselves, but of course tonight we got the champion, the new champion, Anthony Blackburn, and it came down to that first round, a split decision. It all comes down to the gamesmanship, how well you take the shot, how you sell the slaps, and all the rest of it. Yeah, a very, very close one though. Could have gone either way.
Yeah, one judge had it 10-9 for Muniz, two judges had it 10-9 for Blackburn in the first round, and that certainly was the difference for the new welterweight champion. Obviously disappointing for Manny Muniz, but nice for him to wait around there at the end. John Rahm, professional golfer in the house. Major championship winner, Steve will do it. He's always here. And how about Rams wide receiver, Puka Nacua? One of the best rookie seasons for a receiver in NFL history. Tonight's Locker Room Cam brought to you by Brickhouse Nutrition. Build better nutrition one brick at a time at brickhousenutrition.com. The Crazy Hawaiian has been waiting for 9 months to get back here and defend his super heavyweight title, and the time has come. No need to cut weight when there's no limit, so he's coming in at a svelte 385 pounds. Danny Van Heerden not far behind in the weight department. Both of the South Africans' wins have come by knockout, and he's looking for more, and that would solidify the super heavyweight strap. Power Slap 8, the Crazy Hawaiian versus Van Heerden is presented by Monster Energy. Unleash the Beast. What a night it has been at the Fountain Blue, and what a better way to cap things off than these two monsters squaring off for the title. And the table, once again, will go up for a final time here at the Fountain Blue, Las Vegas. It will be the 17th professional slap fight for the Crazy Hawaiian, one of the pioneers of the game, and you can see he's a minus 270 favorite in his very first title defense. Power Slap's first super heavyweight champion, the Crazy Hawaiian, begins the next chapter of his career tonight, and he's got a tough challenge ahead of him in South African powerhouse Danny Van Heerden. Koa Viernes, the Crazy Hawaiian.
When I get up in there, I represent Hawaii. This is all Hawaii all the way. This sport means the world to me. It's my new life. I can finally say I made my mom proud, my dad proud, my family proud, Hawaii proud. I'm really passionate about this. This is my sport. No one's done what I've done in this sport. I'm ready to defend my belt against anybody and everybody in the world. I've been working hard. I know what this means to me and my legacy. When I'm gone, you're gonna talk about the great. I wanna be the greatest. As a true pioneer, I believe I got the best chin in the sport. I don't think there's anybody out there that's gonna rock me, put me on my ass. Danny's a character. He deserves this shot. There's a line of people that deserve a shot at this title. It's just a line of people that are gonna fall under my reign. I'm gonna put my division on blast. If they're not scared of me yet, you're gonna be. You can go up there and try your best, but at the end of the day, you have to face me. Good luck.
My nickname Pitbull comes from I'm not giving up. Doesn't matter how difficult the road is, if I put my mind on it, I will get it. The moment I channel the Pitbull, as soon as I step on the stage, there's no words for me to tell you how much this means to me to bring back the belt to South Africa. Dricus is the middleweight UFC champion. He's done it. This tells me this is possible. This opportunity is not going to waste because it's been something I've dreamed about since I started Power Slap. I haven't tasted that belt yet. I do not think Crazy's got the hunger I've got for that belt. He's been holding on for it for a while now, and he needs to pass it on. I'm definitely ready for all 5 rounds, but like I said, Crazy's going down on 3, and I'm going to take that belt to South Africa.
I'm gonna hit you, you're gonna hit the table, and then hit the ground, and hit the road. I'm gonna knock this guy out.
You've never faced me before. You've never faced my power. You should not have taken this fight. I'm taking that belt home.
Danny Pitbull Van Heerden, his first main event, coming in more focused than ever. Owns an appliance repair company in Pretoria, South Africa. Also has more than 30 pro fights in various combat sports. Says he's not training in MMA as much because he wants to focus on flexibility. He believes that is of the utmost importance in slap fighting.
Of course. I mean, this man's done a lot of different combat sports, so he does know what he's talking about. Very experienced, and flexibility, believe it or not, is so important. It means that he will be looser, he will be quicker, and look at the size of the man. He's going to have the power already, but if you just add an extra bit of speed, if you can wind back even further to accentuate the power. He could put the Crazy Hawaiian to sleep. Now, of course, this is a massive opportunity for him. He's working out a lot. He wants to move to Las Vegas, actually. He's got the P1 visa. He wants to turn that into a green card and move out to America. He's always wanted to face the Crazy Hawaiian as well. Kind of always looked up to him. So for him now, getting a title fight, being the main event, international fight week, going up against the Crazy Hawaiian, he's a very happy man.
Doesn't just want to move to America, wants to move to Las Vegas. He wants to be here. He wants to be where it's all going on. This is a guy who has power. The crazy thing is when he's up there on that stage standing next to the Crazy Hawaiian, he doesn't look that big. He weighs 360 pounds.
Yeah, he's a big boy, but here's how he says the fight goes down. Slap 1, he wakes him up. Slap 2, he wears him down. And slap 3, the Crazy Hawaiian goes for a sleep. He gets knocked out.
Danny Van Heerden predicting that third round knockout. He certainly believes that he has the power to get the job done, which would earn him the super heavyweight title if he can take down this man. Crazy Hawaiian is just a massive human at 6'2", 385 pounds. This is 17th pro slap fight, his first time back on the power slap stage since winning the title last October. Born and raised in Waianae, Hawaii, now living with his fiancée and manager Malia, along with 6 children in Springfield, Missouri. I don't know how he has time to get anything done.
Yeah, listen, and his children are so important to him. Obviously they are, but being able to give them a better life, being able to inspire them and do something with his own life is so important to him. He said dreams are now coming true. He's the Power Slap Super Heavyweight Champion. He's making some really, really good money. He's inspiring people. He's getting a name. He's getting recognized on the streets. And he said it feels so good when he's with his children and that happens because they can see what he's doing, that he's doing positive things with his life. And look at that. That is a gigantic human being. He looks seriously pissed off. Dan Hellie, you would be shitting your pants right now if you were standing up there.
You're damn right. And I'll be honest with you, the first time we saw him, not really impressed by his power. But there's something to that. The power has gotten better seemingly with every single fight. He said his hands have never been quite right. There's always been some type of hand injury. His last fight, actually, which was the title fight against Kalani Vakamialo, he had to use both hands because he injured his right hand. Then he used his left. Then he went back to his right. 100% healthy now, so he plans on using the right all night long.
Yeah, that's right. And you're a certain hand dominant for a reason. And my left is way stronger than my right because I'm left-handed. Well, now his right hand, as you just mentioned, fully healed. So I'm expecting some huge power and a big improvement. But even still, last time out, when he won the belt, it was a knockout. It was a stoppage in round 2 against a really tough, big, dangerous opponent. But right now, he's just absolutely soaking up this moment. And rightly so. He's been around this sport for a very long time. 15-1 in slap contest overall. 3-0 in power slap.
I'm just laughing because I was looking at Robert Trujillo, the red corner coach, standing behind him. It looked like he could eat him. Trujillo's a lightweight.
He's just a little snack.
Oh my gosh. He is absolutely massive. He knows how to play the game. He loves to play to the crowd.
Yeah, but Danny Van Heerden, though, let's be honest, he's a tough customer. Both of these guys are. Van Heerden been around forever. A lot of combat sports.
And Danny Van Heerden was something we have yet to see on the power slap stage, a pair of vintage Patrick Ewing sneakers. Going old school. Tail of the tape brought to you by Estrella Jalisco, an authentic cerveza dorado and the official beer of Power Slap. 3 years separate these two in age. Van Heerden is the older man. The Crazy Hawaiian, a minus 270 favorite, tipping the scales at 420 pounds.
Ladies and gentlemen, this match is sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Chairman Dallas Hahn, and Executive Director Jeff Mullen. Our judges stateside are Tim Cheatham, Saul Diamato, and Junichiro Kamijo. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. From the sold-out Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, and the millions watching around the world on Rumble. This match is 5 rounds for the Power Slap Super Heavyweight Championship of the World. Presented by Rumble, Bold and Free. Download the Rumble app or visit rumble.com. Introducing first, in the blue corner, he stands 6 feet 3 inches tall, weighing in at 374 1/2 pounds. Out of Pretoria, South Africa, he is a number 4 ranked super heavyweight contender in the world. Danny, the Pitbull Van Heerden. And in the red corner, he stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 419 1/2 pounds. Out of Springfield, Missouri, by way of Waianae, Hawaii. He is the undisputed Power Slap Super Heavyweight Champion of the world, the Crazy Hawaiian. And when the action begins, your referee in charge, Mark Smith. Winner of the coin toss and striking first, the Crazy Hawaiian.
Sign up to the Crypto.com app with the code POWER and make a single purchase of $50 or more. Our main event has arrived.
Look at the size of the waist slightly touching. Slightly touched.
You know, a lot of guys try to lean forward so they can lean against the table to get a little balance.
Yeah.
These guys don't have to lean. Their belly just naturally touches it.
Well, I'm glad you said that.
All right, he will measure.
You don't need to lean.
What they measure?
The table supports the belly. Have to be a strong table, though, as well.
Agreed.
Stop!
Everything's strong
Stop!
with these guys.
Time.
Hold on, what's up?
Take all that stuff out of your hand.
Oh, too much chalk.
All right, reset. Right, on 1.
Mark Smith doesn't mess around.
Yeah. So right on 1.
Right on 1.
Oof. Oh, was that a flinch?
Yeah, it was a
good
little
slap.
flinchy to me.
Oh, man.
Wait, don't put that much powder in your hand again.
I tell you, the fans, they saw it. There's a guy over here to my right, and he is very animated.
This guy with the glasses on here?
Yeah, he was not happy. It's great to see, though, the fans being so fans being so passionate.
I love it. So,
Time.
all right, we're
Instant replay.
instant replay right now, according to Mark Smith, trying to figure out whether that was a flinch or not, but that looked like a flinch to me, no doubt about it. Oh, yeah.
There's no question that was a flinch. And I tell you what, if they don't call that
He hits his shoulder first.
We have a foul.
Some of the other ones that they've called tonight.
1 point, clubbing.
They're calling clubbing?
1 point, clubbing.
I think he clubbed because it was a flinch.
3 points of contact. Okay?
Hold on. The Hawaiian's losing a point.
Yeah, for
That's
clubbing.
insane.
I think you and I need to do a seminar.
This is insane.
We need to lead a seminar.
I like Danny Van Heerden, but he's a flinching son of a bitch, right? That is factual. Hawaiian loses a point. This is a title fight as well.
Yeah, I don't love that.
Waist touching. Chin out.
Now, the good news is in a 5-round fight, you get 3 fouls.
Recover. You can
to be DQ'd, so only 2 more for the Crazy Hawaiian. Let's see what Danny Van Heerden can deliver here.
Look at the shoulders on Van Heerden. Where it's a lot of flexibility.
They're going to call flinching. He leaned into it.
He did. He definitely did. I was going to say something.
Danny, would you like to slap again? It's a foul
Yes,
on him
I
for
would.
flinching.
Yeah.
Would you like to
No
slap
shit,
again?
Sherlock.
He will
Let's
slap
go.
again.
But I do feel for him because he should have had a flinching, an extra shot, you know?
Got to hold still.
Yeah, that sucks though in a title fight.
All right, so
waist touching behind your back. Recover. Hold still. Don't move.
Look at Van Heerden loving it.
Oh, he's ready.
Hand count.
No point deduction on the flinch, but Van Heerden obviously going again.
1, 2.
Nice one.
Good slap.
Eats it up.
Yes, he does.
He's doing the little thing, he's doing the motion, but I think he was like halfway through going, oh, that really hurt, that really hurt.
My jaw's a little sore. This was a nice, crispy, clean strike from the South African.
Boom, straight through. Nice shot, clean, on target. Good follow through. But no problem for the Crazy Hawaiian.
I remember 1 foul, 1 point deducted. He was called for flinching, but they get a point deducted, so.
Recover.
Clean strike here. Definitely what's needed for the Crazy Hawaiian here in round 2.
Right, on 2 with the measure. That's your measure. 1.
He rocks him.
It's a clean up.
I don't know if he's going to be able to get up.
I don't know.
That's a big load. I don't know.
He's up. He's good.
Is he?
I don't know.
Is he?
No.
Big decision for Mark Smith here.
No. He's not good. He's not good.
He's doing a little sidestep.
He's doing a sideways shuffle.
He's in. Van Heerden recovered.
Skin of his teeth.
Barely.
Oh,
He's still not all there.
No. He's like, where am I?
He's leaning on Damien DeBell.
Look and listen to them as well.
He doesn't know what continent he's on right now.
He has no idea. He thinks he's back home in South Africa.
What? All right, time. Time.
They're fixing the cotton ball in the ear.
Are you good?
That's a load going down. It takes a minute to get back up to your feet, Bisping.
I was like, good luck catching him. You know, Forrest Griffin, they're going to break him. Forrest is nice and slim these days. They'll snap him in half.
Recover.
That was his brother looking on in the background.
Waist touching.
Look, they bring in the extra catcher. They bring in the super heavyweight catcher.
That's your measure.
Hey, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Let's see what Van Heerden has. Not enough.
No, he lost a little firepower. Doesn't have all the gas in the tank right now.
Yeah, if I'm the Hawaiian, though, I'm like, come on, let's get going. Let's get round 3 on the way.
So because of the first round penalty, it's tied right now.
Yeah, I mean, but the momentum is certainly shifting towards the Crazy Hawaiian, yeah. But yeah, no, all even going into round 3.
What a huge slap this is going to be for the Crazy Hawaiian.
Oh, and the face on Van Heerden is like, that didn't feel good. I've got to do it again. I've got to take another one. And the Hawaiian's walking up. He's strutting up. He's got a pep in his step. He's got power in the slap.
Right, on 2.
He's about to give Van Heerden a nice little nap.
Let's see if he can finish him here. No. He stumbled it, but it was,
he's down.
He's going down again.
It's a delayed reaction.
That means he was hurt from the last one, a little residual effect.
7. Walk to me.
Not as bad as the last one.
It was a glancing blow.
Still good.
Just a glancing blow.
Side step. All right.
Everybody in this building wants to see one of these giants fall.
I know, it's awful. We're all just praying, can one of them just get knocked out and give us the excitement that we want?
Fans on their feet, cheering on to Crazy Hawaiian. Let's see if Danny Van Heerden can pull off the miracle. It was even going into this round, but
recover.
He has clearly been rocked a couple of times. Needs a big shot here in round 3.
Well, the man's got heart. He's had a lot of mixed martial arts fights. He's got a winning
right
record.
hand on 3.
He's going to go right on 3.
Big windup.
2.
He's kind of falling apart a little bit. Crazy Hawaiian.
It wasn't the worst slap, but you can see he's throwing everything he has into these, and he just doesn't have that much juice left right now.
He's kind of falling apart a little bit. The concussive blows that he's taken, hitting the canvas on a couple of occasions. The form's gone out the window.
Yes, round 4.
The confidence of the Hawaiian is growing like crazy.
The Crazy Hawaiian is one clean shot away from seeing the big South African on the ground.
Yeah. Get ready to catch him, boys. I think Van Heerden is going down on this one. I mean, there's been 3 in a row where he's eventually gone down. How much can one man take?
Recover. And count.
Can you picture it right now? If the Crazy Hawaiian wins this, a super heavyweight showdown with Dumpling, my God, how great would that be?
USA versus Russia.
Hold on. No.
He's good. Oh, I like it. He's talking to him.
Good slap.
He fell forward instead of backward. The table saved him. But I will say this, the Crazy Hawaiian still hasn't been able to land a similar slap to that first one that stumbled Van Heerden. This is good, not great. It was the second round slap that really got him.
Yeah, he gets right up in his face. I would love to know what he said to him. Probably said, it's okay, man. Come on, go down. Go on, just go down. Don't fight it.
All right, let's get set and hold still.
I don't know if Van Heerden's saying much of anything. It's the Crazy Hawaiian doing all the talking.
Recover. Hand count.
I'm guessing at this point in round 4, Van Heerden needs a knockout victory in these final 2 rounds. He's going to have 2 more chances. Here's the first one.
2.
Good, but not good enough. By the way, I would probably give Van Heerden this round.
Really? I think you're out of your mind.
You think I'm crazy?
Yeah, like a crazy Hawaiian.
You don't think that slap was harder than the Crazy Hawaiian slap?
I think it was a good slap. I think that Hawaiian had a better slap. I think he played it off better. The showmanship, the gamesmanship, getting in his face, talking to him, taking that slap like that, and then smiling at him. All that together.
I'm buying what you're selling now. All right, I've come all the way back around.
Recover.
That was a very close round, probably one of the closest.
I think it was the closest round by far.
Yeah.
All right, right on
now,
2.
Final round, final slap.
Clean slap.
The Crazy
Cannot have a foul.
1.
Hold on. Oh, he's good.
He's clean.
He's good.
Little love tap.
Everyone's disappointed. Everyone's devastated.
Van Heerden, if he can land one like he did the last time with maybe a little extra sauce on it, a little extra spicy slap.
Could you imagine he knocks him out in the final round? It's possible. We've seen it happen.
It would be a great finish. It would be
what
a great finish.
Comeback that would be.
Would be absolutely remarkable if Danny Van Heerden can get it done.
Let's go, Danny Van Heerden. Okay, I'm just calling for a finish. I don't have a favorite.
I hear you.
I just want to finish.
He's last man
Let's
up.
go. South Africa.
Last man up here in round 5, rocking his vintage Patrick Ewing basketball shoes. Let's see what Danny Van Heerden can do.
I'll tell you what, though. The Crazy Hawaiian has not been rocked or wobbled once. He's taken some hard shots, but he eats them easy.
I just don't know that Van Heerden has it in him.
I don't know either.
We'll find out right now.
1, 2.
Good shot.
It was a good shot. It wasn't good enough.
No.
And I do believe we will see the Crazy Hawaiian retaining his belt after a huge second round shot that sent Van Heerden to the canvas.
Well, he was unlucky early because they deducted a point. And I feel like Van Heerden flinched. But then rounds 2, 3, and 4. Was it 2, 3, and 4? I think it was. He almost hit the canvas every single time. It was almost finished. The referee had to step in and count them, give him a 10 count and things like that. So I think it's pretty easy to judge, to be honest. But Van Heerden did well, came back into it towards the end.
Yeah. And what he's doing, he's looking at the slap and trying to lead it. So,
well, it really does depend on how they scored round 4. I initially thought that Van Heerden had a better slap. You said the whole time it was the Crazy Hawaiian, and it does. Listen, it's the interpretation of the judges, and you made a valid point. Van Heerden had already been rocked. He didn't have the same posture when he received the slap. He didn't have the same smile, the same reaction. The Crazy Hawaiian was unaffected by almost every Van Heerden shot.
He was pretty much unaffected, put on the better show, landed better shots, almost finished him 3 times. So for me, I think it's pretty clear, although Danny Van Heerden did himself proud, represented South Africa to the fullest, he's looking good, he's still on his feet, he didn't go to sleep, and you never know.
And there he awaits, hoping to move to Las Vegas in the very near future. I will say this, no matter what happens in this fight, tremendous cojones by Danny Van Heerden to just hang in there and kind of survive and land some clean slaps at the end. Time now for the official decision presented by Kudo Protein Popcorn. Head to kudosnacks.com now and enter the promo code SLAP for 25% off your order.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 5 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. The judges score the contest 48-44, 47-45, and 47-45 for your winner by unanimous decision, and still Power Slap Super Heavyweight Champion of the world, the Crazy Hawaiian.
I'm here with the winner and still the super heavyweight champion of the world, the Crazy Hawaiian. That was an all-out war, trading blow for blow, but you seemed to get madder and madder as time went on.
Yeah, I really wanted to keep my record of no clubs and no penalties, but I guess they got 20/20 vision over here.
But it was a unanimous decision. No one had any doubt. You were the winner. Another thing that you mentioned coming into this match, your right hand at 100% for the very first time in your career. Yep. How much of a difference did that make?
It was on point tonight, baby. Give it up to Pitbull. He made my mouth swollen as hell. Hey, he's a tough guy, man. Don't count him out. He got belts in all kinds of combat sports. That was a real athlete. Don't look at his stomach or mine. But that was a real athlete in there. So thank you, everybody, for coming out. I hope you guys get to where you guys get going safely. And remember, God is good.
God is good, especially right now, in your case. Still the champion, successful title defense. But we want to know, what's next? Maybe you versus Dumpling?
Yeah, I want Dumpling so bad. Give me the Dumpling! I'm hungry! Feed me!
To Crazy Hawaiian, congratulations.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Charlie. Everybody, God bless and good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, your super heavyweight champion, the Crazy Hawaiian.
A little Raul Rosas Chihuihui. That post-fight interview brought to you by 10X Health, Precision Nutrition Wellness. Go to 10xnutrition.com. What a night here at the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas. The welterweight belt changing hands with Anthony Babyface Blackburn winning, and the super heavyweight strap stays with the Crazy Hawaiian in front of a record-setting crowd here at the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas. Over 3,000 fans on hand here tonight, Bismarck.
Get this man a dumpling. That's all I've got to say. You got to love the Crazy Hawaiian because goes out there, has a tough fight against Danny Van Heerden. Very close, but 2-3-4. He dropped him. They were 10-8 rounds. It was an easy scorecard. And round 4, by the way, I won that little debate.
You were right. You were
the
right.
judges gave it to me, but Danny got round 5. But straight away, he's calling out the dumpling, the man that had the biggest knockout here all evening, made the biggest impact, a massive star as well. And you know, the Crazy Hawaiian, this man is a showman. He's an absolute showman.
He gets it.
He's
He
good
just
on the
gets it.
microphone. He's got a chin. He can knock people out. The man's a superstar.
Well, we still don't know exactly when the next date is going to be, but I cannot wait to see the Crazy Hawaiian take on Dumpling. Here was Dumpling against Camille Marusarge. This was the first strike of the match, and Dumpling sitting the polar bear down. He was out for a while.
Oh, what a shot that was. And he let the world know, listen, this is who I am. This is what I'm capable of. And I want to see a fast track to a title shot. Put the Dumpling with the Crazy Hawaiian. 2 massive men, 2 knockout powers. That is going to be a tremendous match.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that that's going to happen. The only one that could maybe supersede him would be Dwayne Crespo, who moved to super heavyweight and got the title, or got the win against the #1 contender. Paige Van Zandt, the biggest star to step on a power slap stage, gets a very impressive unanimous decision win tonight over Christine Wolmarans.
And she was great. Obviously, this is completely new for her. I mean, look at the speed. It's slow motion, but the speed of those slaps, the accuracy, she'd never done it before. There was no fouls whatsoever. She showed off a great chin. Of course, she's fought in the UFC for many years, done all kinds of combat sports, so we know she has a chin. But Wolmarans is tough. She has got some good power on her hands. Paige took it absolutely no problem. Solid victory.
All right, let's take a look now at the co-main. Emmanuel Muniz falling to Anthony Babyface Blackburn. It looked like when Blackburn found out he won the split decision, he was actually a little bit surprised. This was as close as they come. A tremendous title fight.
Yeah, back and forth, very, very close. And the reality is, it could have gone either way. It was kind of one of those matches. How do you score it? You know, what do you give more credit to? And the reaction on the face of Anthony Blackburn when he found out he won, the hands never came down for like 5 or 10 minutes. He was welling up. He was very, very emotional. I mean, look at this man. Fair play. It was a tough match. They both dished it out. They took a lot of punishment, and the man goes home as a champion. His family are here in the crowd as well. Just a beautiful moment that he'll always remember.
Spent a good portion of the last 2 months did Anthony Blackburn traveling around the country to visit family members, and seemingly everybody that he visited made the trek here to Las Vegas, and they were not disappointed tonight as he takes home the welterweight title. As for a look at the rest of the tremendous fights that went on tonight, here's a little real-time rewind.
There he is, Emmanuel Muniz. Pardon me, Isaiah Quinones.
Puerto Rican pretty boy.
That was
2.
Oh.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Here we go, the dumpling. Oh my God, the power. You see the way the head just snapped back?
Listen, this guy's a farmer in Russia, doesn't practice, doesn't work out. He's just just country strong, as they say, Michael.
Country strong, just country. I mean, we call them something else where I come from, but I'm not going to say it, you know what I mean? It's like they're just out there in the country bumpkins, you know, they're just lifting barrels of hay and throwing pigs and deers and stuff around. But whatever you got to do, right? Yeah. The man's got phenomenal power, unbelievable. And Marasage, the polar bear, he was on the canvas for quite some time.
He was.
It was kind of scary.
All right, here's a look at our champions. The Crazy Hawaiian holds on. Damian DeBell, who was coaching tonight, the heavyweight champ. Wolverine, light heavyweight. John Davis, the middleweight champ. And Anthony Blackburn, your new welterweight power slap champion. Man, I cannot wait to get back here again. Can we do this again next week, please? Power Slap 9 going to be coming to you at some point in the very near future. What a tremendous night here in Las Vegas. Thank you to the Fountain Blue Las Vegas for hosting us here tonight. So many stars. Some of the regulars were in the house. Some new ones were in the house. Props to Vernon Cathy, taking down Austin Turpin and then stealing his dance. Cam Newton was loving it. There's Max Crosby. He's always here. Steve will do it. And how about Dumpling? Making his presence felt here for the first time, impressing everybody, and the man that mattered most in Dana White. Paige Van Zandt, the biggest star yet in Power Slap, making her presence felt, saying, listen, this is too much fun. I can't walk away from this. I'm going to be back. We have a new welterweight champion in Anthony Babyface Blackburn. What a night here in Las Vegas. International Fight Week, and guess what? Tomorrow, UFC 303 is on the way. Thanks for watching on Rumble, everybody. For Michael Bisping, I'm Dan Hellie. Enjoy your weekend.